For over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
You can't wait for college football talk every Monday, so we don't make you wait. Ryan Brown here for The Next Round. You can catch ESPN's Tom Luganville with Jim Dunaway on Monday Morning Live at 7 a.m. I'm with Brandon Marcello on the Middle 8 at 8 after The Next Round. Hear from Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer and Auburn coach Hugh Freeze. After the coaches talk, Fox Sports analyst Brock Huard joins Lance Taylor for Unlocked at 1 o'clock. All college football, all day Monday, anywhere you get The Next Round.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Live show now on a very busy Monday here in the home studios in Birmingham, Alabama, because we find ourselves once again in the same state as the nation's #1 football team, the University of Alabama. I don't know if anybody had it on the bingo card that Alabama would ever be #1 in the country this year.
I said it last week. If they win the game, they're going to be #1.
So you mean like in the
summer?
preseason?
Yeah, going into the season.
I mean, you make it sound like we're talking about Tulane here.
Well, I know. I think we might have said during the summer, if Alabama starts out and they beat Georgia and they're undefeated, I think there's a great chance.
I think most people thought Alabama in the offseason will lose to Georgia. And then what's going to happen to, when you fall, to close that gap to ever get you to #1, right? Yeah, because when Georgia starts losing, it'll probably be Texas that beats them. Well, now they're #1, right?
That's right.
So that's what you would have thought.
As much to do with Texas and Ohio State as it does with the Georgia and Alabama. I just thought there was a belief that maybe Ohio State at some point would be up at #1 and would hold off all defenders because of their schedule, but they haven't played anybody, so they haven't had the marquee win. Texas goes in and beats Michigan on the road, which resonates with national voters. It's not just a Southern vote, but Alabama's win over Georgia, perceived to be by 40 AP voters the best win to date, and we'll jump into that game, but it's Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, Tennessee, Georgia in your top 5 after an AP poll on Sunday.
So Ohio State is still your favorite to win the national championship. They've got the shortest odds. Alabama right behind them, though, is the second shortest odds to win the national championship. But, Alabama, the way they jumped out up 28-0, the way it looked like they were controlling that game until an incredible comeback in the second half. Ohio State hasn't really looked whole. They haven't really had that barometer game yet. I didn't think Texas looked good at all in the first half against Mississippi State. I thought they were really sloppy.
Wasn't that 14-6 at the half, right?
Yeah. 14-6 for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Alabama does have that marquee win, the way they played Saturday, and even to blow the lead and then to be able to come right back the very next play and take the lead back. By the way, that game was just
off the rails.
Was incredible.
Crazy.
Let's get into that. Our Michelson look back at what we saw this weekend in the biggest game in the country, Alabama beating Georgia. 41-34, Michelson Laser Vision gets you into the game.
Yeah, 205-969-8100, 205-969-8100, the number that I called more than 2 decades ago. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She's going to hook you up with the pre-inflation pricing. You have nothing to lose to find out if a LASIK is right for you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
So your big takeaway from this, other than winning the game, Brownie, first thing you take away from this win is?
I think Kirby Smart said it after the game. I'm sure Scott has given you the cut, and I know we'll go back to it at some point. This Alabama offense moving forward is going to be really, 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 really difficult for defenses to handle because, as Kirby pointed out before the game, you've got 2 cheat codes on this offense. You have got Ryan Williams at receiver, and you've got Jalen Milroe, as Kirby said. He would be the best running back at the nation, except that he's a quarterback. He can also throw the ball.
If you stayed up and watched Ash and Genty, I would disagree with that.
I know, but you know what
I know what he's
said
saying. Yeah,
you and these 2 guys operate 20 to 30 yards apart. So to Kirby's point, and he said the game day guys asked me how I'm going to slow him down or what I'm going to do. Ryan Williams, he goes, you either double Ryan Williams and leave Jalen Milroe without a spy, or you spy Jalen Milroe and leave Ryan Williams in single coverage. Which one are you going to pick? There's no good answer there to that, Lance.
Yeah, and I think just on that point, if you're asking me what I take out of this game, I mean, is there a possibility that Jalen Milroe could become the greatest Alabama quarterback of all time? I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but the numbers he's putting up, they are next level. And then Ryan Williams, I know we were on a text thread Saturday night, but if he stays healthy, there's no way. As good as the history of these Alabama receivers have been, I don't know how he doesn't become the greatest receiver in Alabama history.
You know, the one thing I've always loved about you is that you're okay going 110 miles an hour into the future.
No problem.
Yeah. And
I mean, Ryan Williams was built like that.
Yeah.
The plays he made, the body control.
Well, no,
He's absolutely deliberate.
I'm talking about Jalen Milroe first. In order to get in that conversation, you got to win a national championship, at least one.
Right.
It
Well,
seems
you would
like
think.
we're painting Bryce Young as that for
Yeah.
a while. I don't think history is going to show that Bryce Young is that.
Yeah, because he never won one. You
Yeah.
know, I think if Bryce would have held on in Indianapolis, they win that game. I think you can definitely make that argument. Yeah, so Jalen obviously needs to win one. I don't know, man. He just I don't know what the weakness is, and I don't know if you guys were watching any of the ESPN pregame yesterday.
I saw this on social media. I was not watching it live.
I thought it was interesting because they were talking about the game, and they were like, this is viewed as the number 1 pick, and I forgot who it was. Maybe Rex Ryan was like,
yeah.
Why is Jalen Hurts not the number 1 pick?
Milroe.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts. There I go again. Jalen Milroe, not the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, they were talking about like Beck's supposed to be the number 1 pick, and Rex Ryan said, well, why the hell is it not Jalen Milroe? You watched that game last night.
Yeah, I think his stock had dropped even before that game, but I did.
You talking about Beck stock?
Beck stock had dropped before that game a little bit on being the number 1 overall pick, but I was this close when it was 28-0 to sending out a little GIF that had one of those cartoons, the duck back in the day that threw money away out the window and stuff. It was an old Looney Tunes duck. I was going to say Carson Beck's draft stock in the first half where they were just burning money. I thought his money, he was throwing away millions of dollars in the first half.
Well, he went and collected it in the second half.
But then he came back, so I'm glad I didn't send that out because for a moment they were going to lose the game. But that was my takeaway. I went into this game wanting to see, Lance's pick to be the head coach, Kalen DeBoer, more importantly, Nick Sheridan and Kane Womack do the game planning against great defensive minds, Kirby Smart, Schumann, Will Muschamp, who's there Sunday to Fridays as an analyst. Those are great defensive minds. What would they do? And for the first 18 minutes of that game, Kirby Smart, Schumann, Muschamp's on paper somewhere, his game plan, they looked dazed and confused.
They were lost.
You have to admit that's an IQ staff, great brains of defensive football, and they were hit over the head. And on the flip side of that, Bama's defense was confusing Carson Beck. I thought the game plan that they came in to make Kirby Smart and that staff look that confused was an amazing coaching job.
I agree. And, at halftime, I didn't know what direction this game was going to go. I was like, damn, how bad could this be? Yeah. But Nick Sheridan, they showed him up in the box early. It was like he couldn't call a wrong play. He was doing everything exactly right. And when they were showing him, he looked uncomfortable like being shown. Obviously not uncomfortable calling those plays. And I think that was one of the big question marks coming into this game. How would these coordinators be able to handle this? But, to your point, defensively, and what Kane Womack was able to do, Georgia 3 of 15 on third downs.
5 and 5 on fourth downs.
That's so weird. Georgia could not convert a third down. They were phenomenal on fourth down.
And the 4 turnovers. Yeah, I mean, I thought, all in all, it was just, I don't know. It was a great performance from the coordinators as well.
I would say Alabama fans, from the moment that Nick retired, and that was the only guy you said, Kalen DeBoer would be an amazing hire. Kalen DeBoer would be an amazing hire. And I know that he had game planned a couple of big games against Dan Lanning. I know he had won a semifinal game against Sark in Texas. But, to resonate with the Alabama fans, that was going to be a big one Saturday. And I think, they were all wishful thinking on what you said about him being the perfect hire. I think they left that game going, man, I feel really, really good about who Alabama hired.
Well, I knew the guy could coach at the highest of levels. The question was, how's he going to do recruiting? And look, that's kind of, I know it's a story for some, but once we get into the season, it's more about what's going on the field and the results of those games. But he's killing it recruiting-wise, too. I mean, the guy just doesn't really, I say he doesn't lose big games. He lost to Michigan in the national championship game. Doesn't lose a lot of them. 15 games now. Ranked versus ranked, he's 13-2. That's pretty impressive.
In the mybookie.ag chat room, there is some criticism of Sheridan's play call on the double reverse pass deal. All I would say about that is the Georgia player made an incredible play. That's a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, if
you watch,
it's easy to say if you make one block, it's a touchdown. I'm just saying that play was set up. The Georgia player made an incredible
play. I questioned
play.
Joe Brady's double reverse last night with Josh Allen, who got him. When I said, hey, that guy's 6'5", 245 pounds, it just got basically decleated.
Decleated, yes.
Yeah. That was a bad play call.
That was a bad play call.
If you watch the Notre Dame game, though, Notre Dame ran the same type of play.
Against Louisville Saturday?
Yeah, and it was a waltz into the end zone because you had big bodies, the linemen downfield, basically just road grading everyone inside into the end zone. It took a first-round draft pick from Georgia making a first-round draft pick-like play.
Oh, he made an incredible
to shut
play,
that
yeah.
down. And at that point, everything you were calling was working. So I understand taking the eye candy. Would it have been better at that point to be conservative? In hindsight, yes. But could you imagine the roof coming off the place if that had worked?
Yeah, it's a walk-in if the Georgia player doesn't make an incredible play. I mean, you've got 6 offensive linemen out there in front of him, basically.
Yeah, that was the biggest criticism that I heard was what the hell was Alabama doing not running the play clock more?
And I was like, half, yeah.
I mean, but still, you play your offense. The offense was playing so well, and you brought this up. I mean, how difficult is this this offense going to be to defend?
I don't know. That's tough.
Let's hear from Kirby Smart about that and a couple other things from Kirby, who in his postgame, if you saw it, just rave reviews for the classiness that he showed in this defeat to Alabama, a place he helped to get to where it is right now when he was there. This was the first time Kirby was in Bryant-Denny Stadium as the opposing coach with full capacity. Remember the last time they were there, it was the COVID year. Odie's bringing you part of the show today. Tell us about the great folks at Odie's.
Yeah, hopefully you had an opportunity if you were around town to stop into Odie's for lunch or dinner or live music this past weekend. 2 locations, the original and Crestline, where we do Odie's Team Trivia every Wednesday night. Brown will be with me this Wednesday night.
Right. I can't wait.
And, just a great place to go in for lunch, sit on that patio, ice cold beer, buckets full of the Bud Light. Rodney Davis cooking up that incredible food for more than 35 years. Stop in one of those 2 locations today. Birmingham Institutions. Go see Will Haver and that great staff. It's Odie's Tavern.
And our friends at Way to Wellness, the website is aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. A couple of things here. One, if you've got a friend, a family member, maybe it's you that's looking for a career change and you're a dietitian or want to learn more about availabilities that you could have because Way to Wellness is growing so much, they need more people on hand. Leslie's looking for more staff members down there. You can just go to aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com, and check out some career opportunities. If you're looking for all the ways that you can lose weight from injections, all the way to food plans and everything in between. They've got that for you as well. No cookie cutter plan, everything designed for you and overseen by board certified professionals. No contracts, no sign up fees, and you get a free consultation. The website is aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. Here is Kirby Smart on the challenge of defending 4 + 2, which always equals 6. Here's Kirby.
You talk about Ryan Williams, Kirby.
Yeah. Great player. I mean, I got asked by the game day crew before the thing about what are you going to do special for Ryan Williams, and I said, we can't do anything special for Ryan Williams. They got a guy back there at quarterback that could be the best running back in the country, and he throws the ball. So you can't put 2 people on Ryan Williams. You can't do it. You got to make him make throws. And we've known Ryan for a long time. He came to our place on several visits. He's such a great kid. He's extremely fast and elusive, and he's got great ball skills. You know, Malachi had really good coverage on him on a double move. He got on top of Malachi, and you know, if I had to do it over again, we would challenge him more and get up on him. We were off a lot, but the play he made was actually in press coverage there late, and you know, that's okay to give that up. That's hard, but we caught that ball on them. But you got to tackle them. You got to get them on the ground, make them snap it again, and we had momentum, make them drive it through, but we didn't get him on the ground, and that's the biggest fatal flaw of that play.
Luganbill said it was like he was a ghost, and the 2 Georgia defenders were trying to tackle something they really couldn't see.
Well, that pirouette that actually put them into each other, that was obviously the most sensational, incredible play of the night. But, you know, back before, where his body control, where he was able to tip it.
Yep, to himself.
And be able to get back and be able to catch that. Like, I don't know 5-year veterans in the NFL that can do that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just a natural thing.
His instincts and body control are just off the chart, Ryan Williams. And that was the soundbite I was talking about in reference to Alabama's offense. Like, I mean, if I'm a defensive coordinator moving forward, I better hope my front 4 can get Jalen Milroe to the ground. I mean, somebody like Tennessee, they got a good front 4. Maybe they can. I don't know. But most of the defenses Alabama is about to face, especially like LSU without Harold Perkins, their front 4, I just don't know if they can get Jalen Milroe on the ground. I don't think you're screwed if you can't do that.
People understand how fast he is. Obviously, he's really strong.
Georgia didn't. Did you see bad angle after bad angle in the first half?
On that first one, so it was when they went up 21 or 28-0, where he took it around the right side and down the sideline. Like, when he hit the sideline, the speed, the burst, like I had a feeling if he was able to get past that first defender, he was gone, and he was.
Can I just give nobody has mentioned the MVP maybe of this game, but the guy who paints the sidelines, who painted that sideline over on the Georgia sideline,
right,
where Jalen took it to the house on that 4th down play, where Ryan Williams took it to the house on the game winner. I mean, if you just mess up the paint job over there, one little stroke, and it doesn't have – I mean, those 2 are tight roping down the sidelines in 2 massive plays in that game. Hats off to you, sir. Whoever you are, man or woman, I don't know who you are.
Real man of genius.
Take those, yeah, that's right, Tyler. Take that hat off. Forster, take that hat off. Hell of a job painting that sideline, man. It became a big part of the night over there.
You know, one thing we haven't talked about, and maybe you guys have, maybe you talked about it with Luganbill, you talked about it with Marcelo, but what if Georgia hangs on and wins that game?
That was going to be a tough one for Kalen DeBoer today. This is a totally different show.
I mean, after Bell scored the touchdown, I don't know how you guys felt. I knew the game wasn't over. Like, you didn't even have time to really process it because very next play, which I love the play call, go back and challenge immediately, and they were able to score on the 75-yarder. But if that ball falls incomplete, you know, if Georgia hangs on and wins that game, first of all, it's one of the more incredible comebacks of all time.
Yeah.
But, you know, where does Alabama go after that?
Yeah.
It already had a name because it was the comeback. The last time Alabama blew a lead like that at home, this was going to be the comeback because of Carson Beck, the comeback.
Yes.
Georgia fans were already working on social media on the comeback.
Oh, a little early on that.
Now, do you guys, and obviously it didn't happen, so one of those hypotheticals, but Georgia's playoff percentages dropped drastically. Now, things look a lot different after Lane Kiffin doing Lane Kiffin things. But do you guys believe Georgia's a playoff team?
Let's get to that, to a bigger topic, but just a yes or no answer.
Still yes.
Yeah.
I think they are.
Ole Miss, Kentucky helped me say that. Now, they still got Tennessee, too. We always talk about at Ole Miss, at Texas, but Tennessee comes there.
That's right. So
I still think these are the 2 best teams in the nation.
We'll jump. You think these are the 2 best teams in the nation?
I do.
Even in front of Texas.
So you're taking Ohio State, Texas,
Yep.
Tennessee off the board, Oregon,
Yep.
Miami, Penn State. Okay.
I mean, Will Howard's still kind of a question mark with Ohio State.
These are two of the four best rosters in college football.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And they are the two best coaches in college football.
Yeah. Kirby and Kalen DeBoer there. Let's hear from Kirby one more time right after we hear about our friends at CPAP Plus, because we went into the week, we talked all week. Is it a Nick Saban problem or is it an Alabama problem? Kirby got asked about that afterwards. Here's CPAP Plus. Tell us about them.
Yeah, if you're looking for the best CPAP gear with personal service you can trust, visit CPAP Plus. 3 convenient locations: Pelham, Highway 280, Trustful. Hey, for the new customers out there, they've got something special just for you. Get a $20 credit towards the purchase of a new mask system, a CPAP cleaner, or even a travel CPAP machine. You got to mention that you heard it right here on the next round. Stop by today, CPAP Plus, where you're going to find the best service and equipment, all in stock, ready for you, with hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Trust CPAP Plus for all of your CPAP needs. CPAP Plus, where every night matters.
And our friends with Daniel Moore Art, danielmoreart.com. I've had people just talk about it. I've gone back and watched the Ryan Williams play 60 times, 70 times. It was all over the NFL shows. It was the play of the weekend on SportsCenter. It was an amazing play by Ryan Williams. And as Alabama fans have done since the late 1970s, people were like, man, I wish Daniel A. Moore would paint that play, that Ryan Williams play. I don't know if it comes down the road somewhere, but Daniel A. Moore has a new painting out. It's the legend for Nick Saban's 6 national championships. You can pre-order now at danielmoreart.com, danielmoreart.com. Nick Saban said he had autographed some prints benefiting Nick's kids and the foundation there. So those autograph prints are going fast. You can get yours right now, danielmoreart.com, danielmoreart.com. And don't forget, the 2025 calendar is out. Celebrate Coach Saban's time at Alabama with the best prints during the Saban era by using the TNR coupon code. The coupon code for 20% off calendar orders through today is TNR. So go order today and get 20% off right there. Kirby Smart gets asked afterwards. He's now 1-6 as the head coach of Georgia against Alabama. Here's Kirby in the postgame.
Now 1-6 in your career against Alabama. Is there anything that leads to that?
I don't know. What's our bouncer's record against them? Has anybody got one better than 1-6? Displayed them 6 times? I don't think so. I think they got really good players. They got a great program. I got an immense amount of respect for them. They do a great job. I mean, Nick's recruited good players. Kalen's gotten good players in here, and it's a tough battle. Of those 2 of them been here, and they've been tough. They've been really tough battles. So a lot of credit to those guys and a lot of respect for them.
Yeah.
He answered it the right way. He knew the question was coming.
That's right. But, I did the research. A lot of people did. Auburn is 2-6 in Kirby's time at Georgia against Alabama. LSU's 2-6 in Kirby's time in Georgia against Alabama. Tennessee's got 1 win. They're 1-7. A&M's got 1 win. They're 1-7. Georgia's got 1 win. They're 1-6. The rest of the league is over against Nick Saban. But LSU and Auburn, in just Kirby's time at Georgia, has 2 wins. Kirby's got 1. And then Tennessee and A&M, like Kirby, has 1 win. Nobody else in the SEC has a win, and just a handful in the nation during that time has a win.
They've been great games outside of the one in Tuscaloosa, and I forgot when that was.
2020, the pandemic.
That was COVID year, yeah.
And it was, I think Georgia maybe was up at half, and then Alabama dominated the second half. But they've all been really good games.
Yeah, good, meaningful games. And this had the feeling, there was a lot of talk about, well, normally when these 2 teams play, confetti falls and somebody holds up a trophy. This had that feel. I don't know if it did for you guys.
Oh, it did.
I mean,
and that's the thing. And people will diminish, hey, look, going into this and talking to Alabama and Georgia fans, they know they can absorb a loss and still get to the college football playoff. But I just don't think the regular season has been diminished at all, at least up until this point.
It did not feel that way Saturday night. When I'm sitting in my basement watching that game, I felt like I was watching a game that had all the meaning in the world in college football. It has not diminished that at all, I tell you.
And that was the concern, but you're right.
Yeah.
It felt very much like a championship setting, and it was only week 5. Tyler, if you will, man, give me cut number 1. Kalen DeBoer. I mean, it's the biggest win in his time as coach at Alabama so far. So we heard 2 Kirby times. Let's get at least 1 soundbite from the guy who's the head coach of the winning team and now the number 1 team in the country. When you jump out to a 28-0 lead it is obvious you had your team ready to play. Here's Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, we talked about it on Sunday. There were some games last week. Our guys had the bye week, and they watched a lot of football. And we talked about how, there's some last-second plays, and, you got to keep fighting and keep playing. And the game, with our talent is going to keep coming back to us, even when it feels like it's running away from us. And, that belief from tonight is something we will certainly make sure and be intentional on remembering. Because those are the things that are going to happen again, and we're going to have to do the same thing at some point throughout the season. You never know; it might be sooner than later. But guys being ready for when their opportunity comes. We've talked a lot about that during fall camp. I reminded them before the game, and I thought guys were ready when their opportunity came and went and made a play. And that's.
And they really were, man. 28-0 out of the gate. I can't tell you when it went to 14-0. I was just sitting there going, "Oh my God!" And then it was 21-0. I was like, "Oh my!" And then 28-0. I couldn't believe what I was seeing against the Georgia team. And then to have that play at the end, LT, what you were talking about, when it looked like it was going to slip away, all I could think about was last year, Washington and Oregon in that game when they went back and forth, and when Oregon would take the lead back. What did Kalen DeBoer do every time? It was give it to Penix to Rome Odunze, Penix to Odunze, and that's exactly what they did in this situation. Let your quarterback throw it to your best receiver and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe my greatest sporting moment as a fan was when Super Bowl 34 Rams win their first.
Right.
The Rams are up 13-0. Titans come back. They tie it up. I don't know if you guys remember that, or 16-0.
I do.
And then the very first play after the Titans tie it up, Kurt Warner goes up top to Isaac Bruce. So I think there is something with being that aggressive, and that obviously worked out for them. Man, I just the aggression was incredible, and it paid off.
Also, there was Auburn this weekend. We got Tyler Booker in our next segment. Tyler will join us to talk more about the lead into that big game in Tuscaloosa, what the players were seeing in the aftermath. So Tyler Booker in the next segment coming up. We'll get much deeper into Auburn as the show progresses. But just your thoughts on what we saw on national television, if you weren't in Jordan-Hare Stadium, of the interaction between Hugh Freeze and Peyton Thorne in the fourth quarter on that timeout where there seemed to be a little red-faced Hugh there. And then that pick six that came later on that cost Auburn the football game.
Awful throw.
It was an awful throw. He got baited,
I know
he got baited into it, boy.
He did, and it's, what was it, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6. I don't have a problem necessarily throwing the full. That was the worst meltdown of the weekend. Now, it would have been Alabama if Georgia.
Yeah, you're right.
But, I mean, that game was over. Like, Oklahoma wasn't moving the ball, and for Hawkins to have that 60-yard completion and then a pick six, I mean, like, everything had to go wrong down the stretch. Yes, I think there is definitely a disconnect today between Hugh Freeze and his quarterbacks. I don't think it helped that he threw him under the bus last week. And I don't know where you go from here. This isn't a situation where you've got a get-right game this weekend.
Well, yeah, that is far from a get-right.
This is the worst time you want to play Georgia, too, because Georgia's offense seems to have found themselves in the second half.
Yeah, and they're pissed.
And they're severely pissed off.
The whole interaction, we got more time to discuss this, between he and Thorne just baffled me.
Yeah.
Like, he's yelling at Thorne, you pulled it twice, you threw it twice, and he points at the, board, whatever. And I'm like, why are you calling an RPO right there?
That's right. Because what does the P stand for?
Pass.
It's an option.
And the O stands for option.
Yeah. And
just
they
call
gave
the
it to
R.
me.
Don't call the PO. That is on Hugh Freeze. You call your quarterback up and bitch him out. That's on you.
Yeah, take the P off, man. Just call the run.
Oklahoma, best thing you could have done, run 3 times and punt it back to Oklahoma. They suck on offense. You're playing a great defensive game. Oklahoma didn't get 300 yards of offense in that game. Why do you care if they've got the ball back? Burn clock, punt the football. There was nothing wrong with that.
I never thought Auburn was losing the game until the pick six.
I didn't either.
Even on the big play from Hawkins, and they end up cutting it to a possession.
Yeah.
I just never felt like Auburn was going to lose the game.
Run every play in the fourth quarter and punt. You want Oklahoma having the football, Jim. You want them having the football. Your best unit's your defense Saturday.
11,
right. And the worst unit on the field was their offense.
11 first downs, 291 total yards for Oklahoma, and they win the game.
You want them to have the football.
With a true freshman quarterback in his first start on the road at Jordan-Hare.
Head spinning.
Yeah, and I
no
don't
receivers.
I didn't hear anything about Jackson Arnold. I still haven't seen anything, but I assume when he was struggling, for him not to come in,
He'll been on the whole game. Like, he was ready.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to look back now from Hawkins. Do you guys, after the way he played in the fourth quarter?
You don't put him in right there?
Yeah.
I don't see how you do it. There you see the final stats from Oklahoma football.
Awful.
Win column.
Yeah, I mean, how you win that game?
Stats are for losers, they say. We'll get into that, the post-game reaction from Hugh and everyone else as we move throughout the show. But Tyler Booker queued up on the other side. Our friends at Wonder Fan are ready to get you ready for another big weekend. Hey, you even, if you're on the road, if you're at Vandy and you're over at Georgia between the hedges, make sure that stadium is in the Wonder Fan app. If not, you can send them a message, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Not just football stadiums across America. Obviously, any other venues. You're at a concert, you can check it out there. Wonder Fan is a first-of-its-kind stadium rewards app where fans earn real rewards simply by cheering for your favorite team. All you need to do is head to the App Store, download the app, check in once you're at the stadium. Wonder Fan, WUNDERFAN. Let your earnings start to grow. It's that easy. During each game you attend, you'll earn in the background once you press start, and once you have enough earnings, you can redeem for cash vouchers to your favorite retailers, Dick's, Champion, Lululemon, 47 brand, and more. There's even weekly ticket giveaways. You can use your points to enter. New rewards are added weekly again. Just head to the App Store, search WonderFan, WUNDERFAN. Start being paid for your fan loyalty. WonderFan, it pays to be a fan.
And it's race week at Talladega Super Speedway. Let's go racing. You can start camping out right now, free camping throughout the week. Upgrade to the garage experience presented by our friends at Cool Ray. On Friday, we got the truck playoff race, and then, of course, the Buckendega Rodeo. Saturday nights, the Jake Owen concert, and on Sundays, the Yellowwood 500. Tickets available, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. Upgrade those tickets. Be in for the world's fastest speedway playoff race, 877-GO-TO-DEGA, or TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at scottforestertv.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
You never know what we're up to here at the Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow the Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunsford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in. Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan-Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Little did I know that I wanted to grow up and be a T-shirt maker in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The T-shirt game in Tuscaloosa this year, through the roof. Look at the one that's happening right there.
With Tyler Booker?
Yes.
Link House?
Link House. You've heard of Heisman House. How about the Link House T-shirt?
What's up, Book? How are you today?
I'm great. How are y'all?
Doing awesome. Tyler Booker with us each week on the Johnston RV Center hotline. That game, I mean, watching on TV, man, people talk about, we were discussing this earlier, like the playoff is going to diminish the regular season. It didn't diminish that game. That game had every bit the big feel that Alabama and Georgia always have.
For sure, it was an instant SEC classic, and I was talking to my dad about it after the game. And he and I used to watch Big Ten classics when and try to see if my uncle was playing All Michigan State at the time, and we're like, oh yeah, this is going to be on the SEC classics. Like people are going to be watching this game 10, 20 years from now. So so it was cool to be a part of history.
I do know we live in the moment, and everybody's like, oh, my God, that's the greatest game I've ever seen. That game was incredible to sit back and watch. You've played a lot of football. Is it at least like the most exciting, emotion-turning game you've ever been a part of?
Yeah, I've been talking about it with a lot of my teammates, and we've been talking about whether this game or the Iron Bowl last year takes the cake for the most emotional turmoil during the game. And I would have to say it's this one, and this one was more fulfilling because at least it was at home. It was home.
And what was that atmosphere like? You know, I was on the couch at home watching it. It looked incredible. I saw where Kirk Herbstreit sent something out on social media talking about how blessed he is to do what he does and be able to be in environments like that. And he said everybody needs to emulate basically what Alabama does on game day ops. I think that's probably impossible, but just looking around, absorbing that home crowd, how was that emotion?
The crowd was amazing. I'd like to take this moment to give a big shout out to the fans. I want to say thank you. You guys are so important to us, and I appreciate y'all being loud and rowdy and the whole entire game. Like, this was the best atmosphere that I've personally been a part of since I've been going here. So very proud and blessed to have these great fans in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and the fans definitely have an effect on the game. So y'all keep it up.
Yeah, people who have covered Alabama football or been to games forever said it was the best atmosphere in Bryant-Denny history. And you sort of knew that that was going to be an important factor. Our team, Emily Grace McWhorter, got video of you walking on the field telling the students, come on now, we're going to need you tonight. We're going to need you tonight. Did that home field advantage help you guys get out to that early start?
It definitely did. And whenever you have the momentum and the support from your fans, it adds a little bit more juice, and it takes some away from the opposing team because we've been on the other side of that. So, for example, Neyland Stadium my freshman year, that was another great game, a shootout actually, and their fans were rocking. Like, we really had to adjust to how loud their fans were. So just knowing that the fans could have an effect on the game, we just had to take advantage of the home field advantage.
You know the reputation of Kirby Smart and all the defensive minds on that Georgia sidelines. You know that. You were recruited by them.
Yes.
For you guys to do what you did to them, especially in the first 18 minutes when they looked like they were scrambling in their big brains trying to find an answer, how did you guys game plan that? What did you see on tape that you thought, hey, we could take advantage maybe of this or that?
It was just everything that we work and train for coming to fruition. Like we feel as if we have some of the best athletes in the country. And as an offensive line, we just have to let them work. Like, there's only one Jalen Milroe. There's only one Jan Miller. There's only one Justice Haynes. There's only one Kendrick Law. There's only one Ryan Williams. There's only one Jeremy Bernard. And I can continue to name all the one-on-ones that we have on our offense. So as an offensive line, we just have to go into this game and be like, let these guys work. And they did that and then some.
Yeah, but Book, that first quarter, really the first half, looked like y'all were tired of hearing about something, or y'all were sending a message about something. That was as dominant as I've seen Alabama be in a long time. Why was it such a dominant start for you?
Because we knew that we had to come out and start fast. We knew as an offense we've had drives, we've had quarters to where we were dominant, but we need to put it together for a whole game, and we still haven't. The scary part about us as a team, and especially us as an offense, is we still have yet to play a complete game, and still playing only 2.5 quarters of football, we scored 41 points. So the better we get through the season, the better we'll be as a team. And that's what's so exciting and so encouraging about this team and this season. The best is yet to come.
I know for fans, with the adrenaline going, it's hard for them to turn it off and go to sleep at a decent hour. Just give us the steps of like after the game, from the locker room to a post-game meal, to what time did you finally get in the sheets?
Man, I probably didn't go to sleep until about, well, it's hard for me to go to sleep after any game, but I had some family in town, so the whole family came over. We had some food catered, so that was one less thing that we had to worry about. So all you had to do is get home. But guys, I live 2 minutes away from the facility. It took me 20 minutes to get home. Yeah. 20 minutes. That's how many people were in Tuscaloosa. And thankfully, we cater food, so. Shout out to Flavors in Tuscaloosa. The food was great. So we just enjoyed some food, and we had a great time with family. And that's something that my dad and I have always talked about. Like, man, we got to get you a nice apartment. We got to find somebody to cater food, so we don't have to worry about getting food after the game. And to have my family there, that was really a dream come true. That's things I've dreamed about, winning a big game and being there with my family, being able to enjoy it with my family.
Did you see 3 a.m.? Were you up to at least 3 a.m.? Do you remember what time it was when you finally went to bed?
Oh, I went to sleep at 4. My dad and I we were just talking about college football from then on out.
Yeah. Daryl,
I was up until about 4.
Daryl's one of our longtime listeners, and I don't know if your grandmother mentioned this to you or not, but he got to talk to your grandmother as he was walking to his seat at Bryant-Denny Stadium, and he said, I talked to her about all of her cooking. And she said Booker's favorite bean is lima beans. True? Is that true?
Yes, very true.
And he said, I told her to enjoy the game, and I enjoy watching her grandson every week on the next round. So hopefully she enjoyed the encounter. So lima beans, really, all your beans, and you choose lima beans. She must be a heck of a lima beans cooker.
No, she is. And the lima beans that she makes are the only one I'll eat. Nobody else. I won't eat anybody else's lima beans, so it's just hers. And she really enjoyed the game too. She told me about how she had her 15 minutes of fame. She was like, "Oh my gosh, you're Tyler Booker's grandmother." People were going up to her asking for pictures, and she was just eating it all up. So I'm glad she had a great day as well.
Tyler Booker's on the JohnsTNRVCenter.com hotline. He joins us this time each week. Remember, all Alabama coverage at Cover Crimson, CoverCrimson.com, and the Cover Crimson YouTube channel. You can join for $1 a month. Cover Crimson. See how you like it right there at CoverCrimson.com. How pissed were you that on that pin and pull you didn't have anybody to block? Because you're out there in space. If you take a man's soul, it's going to be all over the place. There was nobody out there. Like, Jalen had to run around you to get into the end zone.
Yeah, Jalen's just a tad bit faster than me, so he made a business decision. He said, you know what, I'm going to let Book take this play off and let me just go ahead and score.
I mean, you're just running out there. There's nobody anywhere for you to block. It was such a perfect setup play. I'm like, Booker's going to try to steal a man's soul, and there's nobody out there, man.
Yeah, it happens like that sometimes, but I hope whatever team we play in the future, when we run that play, I hope they put somebody out there.
I was watching the game with a Tennessee fan, and he was shocked. He was like, that's a true freshman that is returning punts on this stage. And this is before Ryan made some of the other plays. By the end of the game, he was like, who is this kid? But we've talked to you before about number 2. I mean, I guess anything he does, nothing he does really surprises you guys?
And no, it doesn't surprise anybody in the building, because the things that he does in the game, he's done crazier in practice.
Yeah.
And I like he's done crazier in practice, and I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of how he's handling everything. He doesn't have a big head. He's very humble. He interacts with the fans really well, and that's a telltale sign of how the character of an athlete in our position, because it's easy to be like, man, I'm tired, I want to go home. But Ryan takes his time and interacts with the fan.
Yeah, well, I've got two about Ryan Williams.
Well, I was
quick.
just
go ahead.
One of yours might be the same. I was just going to ask what his vantage point was on that last catch. I mean, you're obviously downfield. The replay's insanity. I mean, what was your vantage point on that last catch for the game-winning touchdown?
So on that last catch, they ran a game, so they dropped the defensive end, and the 4-eye went to keep contained, and I had to track the quarterback spy. I think that was number 11. So I'm just tracking him, and then I see the ball go in the air. And then I see Ryan one-on-one. I was like, okay, he caught the ball. Like, we're probably going to be in hurry up now. I was thinking, like, we're definitely going to be in hurry up, because I know Coach DeBoer likes to score and put up points. So I'm just jogging down the field, making sure that I'm ready for the next play. And then I see him make one guy miss. I was like, okay, he's getting some more yards. And then I see them running to each other. I'm like, is he going to score? And then it's funny, we were watching film yesterday. You can see me put my hands on my head like this, like out of utter shock that he just made that play.
Dave Portnoy of Barstool said it was like from the movie The Matrix, the way he was able to sort of stop and then go backwards and make those guys run in. Have you ever seen The Matrix?
I have.
Yep.
I have.
Was it Matrix-like, you think?
Very much so. Very much so. The way he was able to stop and then spin, it's just the things that he does, you can't teach it. And we're talking about the game-winning catch, but how about when he tipped the ball back to himself?
Yeah, that's the one LT was talking about earlier. The other thing I wanted to bring up was it was dueling deuces, because you had Zabion make the game-sealing interception, and in the video that the university sends out in the locker room, it's about them calling up the two young bucks, the two number twos, and you guys celebrating around them. As a veteran, as a captain, seeing the two young guys getting their flowers in the locker room like that, what does that say about the chemistry of this team?
It's a great feeling, because you know, it's easy for a lot of the older guys to be selfish, but everybody was happy for one that we won the game, and happy for those two guys, because everybody in the building knows how hard that ZB and Ryan work, and we're very proud of them. And that's what happens when you come in, you put your head down and you work. Like you earn the right to play. There's no favoritism. There's no, oh, he's gonna play just because he's senior. Like, no, if you earn the right to play, you're gonna play here. And that's something that a lot of recruits say when they're thinking about coming to Alabama. Like, oh man, the roster is so stacked, I don't know when I'm gonna play. But no, if you're that guy, you will play. And those two are great examples of it, and I'm very proud of them, and I'm very, very glad to have them on our team.
All right, Book, you did pick up a 15-yard personal foul.
I did.
No, I'll say it because you can. It was a BS call. I mean, what a weak personal foul that was.
For a guy not participating in the play,
in the play,
they're
dude. Both running down the field, and he shivs you. You forearm. And so, I mean, it was a BS call. You can't say it. I will. And I think anybody watching thought the same thing. How do the coaches address that? Were they like Kapilovic, your offensive line coach, Coach Kapilovic, is he like publicly, all right, Book, you can't be doing that kind of stuff, but then privately he's like, yeah, I like that edge, man. I like that edge.
He just asked me what happened, and I told him what happened. He was like, okay, we'll see it on film. And then I also spoke to Coach DeBoer about it. He brought up a great point. He said the guy wasn't going to make the play. He was going to affect the play. So this next time, keep going. But I'm, like you said, that mental edge that I have, like I'm always trying to get somebody on the ground within the rules. And during the time, I felt like that was within the rules. The refs saw that it wasn't, but my coaches told me that they were going to send that into the SEC to see how I should go about it next time, because we both were chasing the play. Like, who knows how that play could have happened? We could have sped up and stripped the ball. And
that's right.
And 7 points going the other way.
That's right. If the ball comes out,
and playing football.
Yeah, if the ball comes out, that guy is in the play, right?
He becomes a blocker at that point.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys say you're not surprised anything you see with Ryan Williams because you've seen it in practice. I think some people were surprised they finally saw emotion from Kalen DeBoer. And he had a mini meltdown for like 15, 20 seconds. It was captured. It's been replayed. And I think people were it was kind of refreshing for Alabama fans to see maybe that side of Kalen DeBoer. I would assume you guys don't see that too much as well, right?
Yeah, no, and because Coach DeBoer is so even keel, and that's what's so great about him. But being in the SEC, though, some things can get you out of your character every now and then. And it's just great to see how passionate Coach DeBoer is. He's always been passionate, but he just shows it in different ways. And to see that passion from him, that's the kind of guy that you want to play for.
All right, Book, that was one heck of a game, man. Congrats on the win. We really enjoyed watching it, and I know you enjoyed playing it. So good job out of you. We'll talk to you next week about Vandy.
Thanks. Talk to y'all soon. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. Take care. That is Tyler Booker with us. Again, don't forget all Alabama coverage at covercrimson.com. You can join for $1. Get on that message board. They've also got a great YouTube channel there, Cover Crimson YouTube channel, great programming. Covercrimson.com is where you start and book on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Let down here in Asheville?
We'll talk about that. Let's talk about Inverness Country Club. Remember, Cover Crimson's where your post-game show. Inverness Country Club bringing you part of the show.
Yeah, they've got memberships that fit absolutely everyone, from the social membership, including the resort-style pool complex, full-service cabana and bar, live music on Friday night, Sunday brunch, the golf, beautiful course, currently expanding the driving range. Maybe you relocated to retired. Inverness, great place to network. And talking to members at Inverness, the one thing they absolutely love, if you have the young kids, child care is a massive plus. You and your wife on a day of golf or tennis, guess what? You can drop the kid and go have yourself a day on the court or course. The best days happen at Inverness. Take a tour of this unbelievable club. Call Aaron today, 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608. Make sure you tell The Next Round sent you. For more information, ICCalabama.com.
Monday Night Football tonight. Dolphins a 2.5-point favorite at mybookie.ag over Tennessee, and the Lions at home a 4-point favorite over Seattle. Both those games right there at mybookie.ag. Code Next Round to play those. Lance asked about a potential letdown. We'll discuss that in a moment for Alabama. But the point spread, Alabama currently at 24, favored over Vanderbilt there in Nashville. We'll discuss that more in a moment. Auburn, big underdog, 24.5 in Athens. You can play all those games at mybookie.ag. Code Next Round when you sign on. They double that initial deposit. You can bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Double the deposit right there at MyBookie. When you make a deposit, they double it. You play with that money. It is yours and yours as soon as you win with it forever. You don't have to win 5, 6, 7, 8 times. They'll double the deposit. That's free money. Win once with it. It's yours forever. That's at mybookie.ag, and that is when you use code NEXTROUND, all one word. mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
So I assume you asked that question for a variety of reasons, but one of them being is the betting line, I think, surprised some people when they saw it opening at 24.5 and then starting to move around a bit.
Yeah, well, you were talking about maybe it opened a little too low.
Yeah, I think a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Vanderbilt, typically, like if you would have had a Nick Saban team 5, 6, 7 years ago against a typical Vanderbilt team, this number's probably 35.5.
But you also have, we just beat Georgia, man. We scored 41 on Georgia.
And I do think that, this big boy football, a lot of these guys, it's almost like being in car wrecks. And the body being able to recover from that. Vanderbilt coming off a bye, right?
Yeah.
And Alabama coming off a physical game against Georgia. And, and Vanderbilt's much improved. Vanderbilt, I think, will be able to score some points here and there. I don't think Alabama's got any fear of a letdown as far as losing a game.
No, they're not going to lose a game.
There's been plenty of 20-point live dogs out there this year, though.
To your point, you don't think there's a moment in time that Vandy's down 28-0 like Georgia was?
I don't think so, but it just depends. If Alabama mentally rolls into that game and they're just like, hey, we want to buzzsaw and just destroy everybody, they could. I just think there's going to be a little bit. I don't know how there can't be a letdown after that game.
Yeah, I think it helps that it's on the road, number one. Not that is, there'll be 3 times the Alabama fans.
And I think Alabama fans are excited to travel because Nashville's a great city to go to, and the fact that you're now the number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah, when Alabama plays in Nashville, they pack that stadium out. And Auburn does the same, Tennessee does the same, Georgia does the same. That's just the way it is in Nashville. So you're going to have that. But being on the road, not being an 11 a.m. game, I think all those things play in. I just wonder what might make it look like a little bit of a letdown, but really is not. And this was brought up earlier in the MyBookie.ag chat room. You ran Milroe a lot in that game. You also, in the Georgia game, you also want to preserve him.
Yeah, well, guess who you didn't run a lot?
Jim Miller
and Justice Haynes.
And that's what I was about to say.
Give the ball to those guys 20 times each, and you probably have 300 yards on the ground, and you probably win a different way.
I just think maybe in all these games, the game plan doesn't run Milroe as much as Milroe ran in the Georgia game. You might need to do that against Tennessee and LSU and some of these other games. You may not need to do that against Vandy and some of these other teams.
491 total yards for Milroe. and as you guys said, became the live odds betting favorite for the Heisman in the first half of that game. It'll move around throughout the season. Quinn Ewers will come back. Maybe he'll jump into the conversation. Who knows?
I don't think he can.
Yeah, it's a lot of games to miss to win a Heisman.
Cam Ward had 3 turnovers in Miami's win against Virginia Tech. They go on the road in what could be an ugly game against Cal.
Two-way race right now. I know it's not even October, and so these things are typically won in November. But Ashton Jeanty, if you watched him Saturday night, I mean, even in their one loss against Oregon, he was great. He is by far, like Ollie Gordon was a different style running back, Jeanty is electrifying. And so right now it's two-way race between Milroe and Jeanty.
But you'll get quality of opponent a lot in that situation, in my opinion.
Well, Washington State was ranked, and they ran them off the field.
Yeah,
they beat the absolute hell out of them.
But also fewer TV games. Boise won't be on TV enough for Jeanty to win the Heisman. Our main TV games.
I think he could. Like, if they don't lose another game, he could definitely win the Heisman Trophy.
In my opinion, it's Milroe and Travis Hunter, 1-2 right now.
I think Hunter is. I'll tell you, and then I've got some Deion stuff coming up. But
they're surprising. They're leading the Big 12.
I mean, they whipped Central Florida's ass.
Yeah, on the road, a game they were 14.5-point dogs. 9 catches, 89 yards. First time he's under 100, but he makes a key diving interception and then throws that Heisman pose out there. You remember, wasn't it Woodson that Peyton Manning should have won the Heisman?
Yeah.
But Woodson, all he did was return kicks, right? And occasionally line up his
But here's the
receivers.
thing: Colorado's got to still win games.
Yeah.
You know, and they're winning right now, but the meat of the schedule is coming up, and so if they still are a team that doesn't go to a bowl game, although he might be the best overall player in college football. And a lot of people probably had turned the game off, but I was watching. It was a 4th and goal. KJ Jefferson, quarterback keeper, and Travis Hunter was the guy that made the tackle on the goal line. I mean, so guy is involved in every play.
That's 2 plays in back-to-back weeks at the goal line that he did something that his coach didn't do in the NFL.
No.
And that's put his head in there and made a tough tackle.
And they're up 3 touchdowns. Like, if Jefferson gets in, it really doesn't matter. But this guy he plays through the whistle, man, and the guy can absolutely do everything. This sounds weird on the fly, but this might be the biggest collection of the most electrifying players I've ever seen in 1 year in college football.
Yeah, you've got some to throw in Jeremiah Smith at Ohio State. You've got some youngsters that are making an impact, some really great players. Your precision sports question of the day for you. Can you name me the 3 teams that are mathematically tied for first place right now in the Big 12? I asked this to Luganville earlier today.
So all the 2-0s, because there's some 1-0s.
So if you want to break the code for him, go ahead. Yes, yes, it is all the 2-0s.
Well,
in the
league. I know it's Iowa State.
Iowa State technically is 1-0.
They're 1-0. There's 3 2-0s.
So they're not mathematically tied for first.
3 2-0s. Colorado.
Colorado's one of them, which brings up this question.
Yeah.
I can't believe it gets tricky now. I guess Arizona, because the loss wasn't against Kansas State.
And
Arizona's 1-0, I believe, so they're not one of the teams.
I don't know who.
BYU.
Okay.
BYU. And the other one may have been Arizona. I got to find it on my sheet.
The other one is Guns Up.
That's right, Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, they're playing pretty good football.
I don't think Texas Tech has any shot at winning
I
this.
don't
Colorado
either.
has no shot at winning it.
Texas Tech, BYU, Colorado, both 2-0 right now in the league. They're in the lead there. A couple of other 1-0 teams.
I got bit. I went against BYU. I did an 11 o'clock game. I knew I shouldn't have. That Baylor team's terrible.
They are.
They are really bad. Precision Sports Medicine, not terrible. They'll get you back after maybe a terrible accident while playing sports on the weekend Warriors, or maybe for your high school or college athlete. They are at every event in neighborhoods all across the state of Alabama. Whether it's in Jasper or Fultondale or Alabaster or anywhere around the Birmingham metro area, look for that Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedic logo. Part of the wonderful Brookwood Baptist Health family right there. 205-512-3885, 512-3885, or go online to precisionsportsortho.com/2024. Tweaks and pulls, pains and breaks, they diagnose it, they treat it, and they rehab it. Orthopedic care is better together. It's Find Your Provider Today time. 205-512-3885. Visit precisionsportsortho.com. We'll get to best and worst of the weekend right here as well. Keep those flooding in to the mybookie.ag chat room. Best and worst of the weekend is brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services, LT.
205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. If you have any plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, these guys are ready to serve you. Trusted name, Birmingham's trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
So on the other side, give me some of your best and worst of the weekend. We'll talk more about Georgia as a playoff contender. My worst of the weekend, I'd forgot about this storyline, but apparently in some of the legal filings Florida State made, they basically used the fact that the ACC was bringing in Group of 5 SMU as one of the reasons they wanted out of the ACC.
Yeah.
Courtroom bulletin board material for the win. SMU 42, Florida State 16, where DJU had 3 interceptions and got benched by a quarterback, Brock Glenn, who came in and threw 0 completions in the game. That was the low point of a low season so far for Florida State.
It was. The low points aren't over either.
Yeah, look, this is hard to say.
I know. Go ahead and say it, though.
Mike Norvell built it up for 1 year. I know there was 10 wins in 2022, and then they win the ACC. Everybody thought they got slighted. I just I don't think it's going to work out. Like, this program is completely lost. Like, it was a great year last year. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but like they're at times not even competitive. And for them to get run off the field against SMU, you've got to have some kind of pride for that brand. You were coming off a win too.
But you have all those portal guys, right, that you put in there, and we've talked about this. They don't bleed for the garnet and gold. They didn't go there. Five of them, went to Tuscaloosa.
I get it, but USC's got a ton of transfer guys in right now. They've got the one loss. Colorado has a ton of transfer guys in.
I watched Saturday night, Damani Jackson and Keon Sabb playing there. What all for Alabama?
It's easy when it's going well, though. It's
you're right.
When you're 1-4 on the road and you're getting handed to you.
Shoot.
Yeah, I can shut it down at halftime because I don't really care about.
But if I'm Norvell, if some of these guys don't have the passion, then you know what? I can lose with guys that do have passion.
That's exactly right.
And I've got to figure that out. And it's just a terrible look. And I don't think Norvell's going anywhere. Somebody asked me over the weekend what his buyout was, and I said too much. But, man, if I'm a Florida State fan, first of all, you're devastated by what happened at the end of last year. And then this year, how does this even happen?
Listen, I did not go to law school, but I've watched every episode of Law & Order. You know what paying an extraordinary amount of buyout for Mike Norvell would prove in court with a lawsuit against the ACC? You ain't hurting for money, my friend. So you can't buy him out because you'll end up losing that lawsuit that you've been spending money on. Joel Klatt joins us in about 30 minutes when we come back. What happened to Auburn? We'll jump into that. And is Georgia on the verge of possibly missing an expanded college football playoff? All that straight ahead on the show that's brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Hit the button, Tyler.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken. NASCAR is back with the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or call 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Don't forget to enhance your race weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Race. The weekend includes Buck and Dega, a rodeo and fireworks on Friday night, Jake Owen in concert on Saturday, and the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Get your tickets at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Here at the Next Round, we love our guests, especially our 2024 football regulars. Auburn, Alabama fans, we've got your guys. On Mondays at 9:25, we'll be joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and Tuesdays at 9:25, we chat with Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne. Join us and rep your team.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family, all at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Best and worst of the weekend continues thanks to our friends at Hemphill.
Thank you to the fine folks at the Rabbit Hole. Brownie,
That's weird.
That's a little flashback from Friday they're playing.
The old Friday flashback.
Best and worst of the weekend cranks up and rolls on from our friends at Hemphill Services. We appreciate those guys so much bringing us best and worst of the weekend. This hour of the show being brought to you in part by our friends at Ghost Energy Drinks, and that'll get us to our best and worst of the weekend. The segment brought to you by Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration. Authentic flavors, zero sugars, no BS. Look for Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration at all your retailers that sell energy and hydration drinks near you. Who got ghosted this weekend, Brownie?
Lance, I'm going to say it's Jackson Arnold. They kept showing him standing on that sideline with his helmet on, and as bad as that offense has got, Brent Venables never looked his way. So I'm going to say Jackson Arnold got ghosted
I was a little surprised just because Venables, that's what it kind of told me. It was weird because he did have the helmet on, but Venables said in a press conference this week that you might see Jackson Arnold this week. And when the offense was really struggling, I thought you might see him.
Yeah, to me, I'm going to go, it was the UAB program by their own head football coach. If you missed it, Navy beat UAB badly. In the post-game news conference, it is Trent Dilfer's grandson, I believe, who is in the back of the newsroom, back of the news conference area, and he is making some noise, and as kids do, it's no big deal. But Trent says, come on up here. Trent said this after the game, didn't come off the right way. He was asked about it again this morning. And UAB fans, I don't think, are loving the way he responded this morning. Here's Trent Diffel post-game, and then a chance to clean it up on a Monday.
With a game like this, with a team like this, that with Navy, when you get off to...
Come on. He can come up. It's like two of them. It's not like this is freaking Alabama. Let's go. Come on, bud. You can come up here. Go ahead.
Trent, during the post-game presser, you quoted, "This is not freaking Alabama." What would you say to UAB fans who may have perceived this as something that you didn't mean to say, or could you just elaborate on what you meant to say?
Were you there?
I was not there.
There's my answer.
Well, I'm here today.
There were two people there, okay? And my grandson wanted to come up, and I heard like a little stirring. I said, there's two people here. This isn't freaking Alabama's press conference. My grandson can come up.
But you are aware of this program's history.
I am very aware of this program's history.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Look, I don't know if he's playing golf today, but I know one of the big priorities is golf for this guy. I know UAB fans are not happy. This is the guy you wanted, though. Like, I remember saying, I don't know if Brian Vincent really got a fair shake. This program has not been competitive. They have gotten run off the field. I will say they did compete in Fayetteville, but after that performance, you're coming off a bye, you would think that you would be more competitive. Navy's much improved. Navy's a good team. But when you start to look at the schedule, you're 1-3. There are 4 games. I don't think they can win on this schedule. So you're automatically, year 2, you're not even getting to a bowl for whatever that means.
Brown, can we just be honest, though?
Okay.
And I struggle being honest sometimes on the show because my broadcasting roots are deep in local television, and I try to play, middle of the road. And my job here on the show is to set you guys up to be the hot take guys and stuff. But if we just would be brutally honest and not worry about public relations, Trent Dilfer ain't lying. It's not Alabama, right? And
it's not even close. Right. But it's something you can't say if you're the head coach of that program, and especially you're sitting at 1-3 and getting embarrassed.
You can't say it. But he's not lying.
Oh,
it's not Alabama. It's not Auburn.
There's a reason there's 2 people in there.
It's not. And
this program is dead again. It is completely dead again.
We don't talk UAB barely on this show, right? Rarely do we talk UAB football.
I can explain why.
We talk a lot of UAB basketball, right? Because Andy keeps the program relevant. We talked a lot more UAB football, not as much as we did the SEC, but we talked a little bit more UAB football when Bill Clark was there. He's not lying, but to your point, he can't say it because he's the guy that's got to drive that program.
Well, it's a statement that if you're 3-1 and your only loss is at Arkansas, I mean, nobody bats an eye about that. They're like, the media doesn't cover us enough. He's right. It's when you're 5-11, you've got 3 FBS wins. Your opposition, I tweeted this weekend. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but your opposition, their combined record is something like 13-36.
Yeah, something White Sox like.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's your combined opposition that you've beaten. You've now been walked out of the stadium by La Monroe and Navy at your home stadium by Navy. That's when you can't say things like this.
This is what this is, Brownie and LT. This is your wife saying, "Do these pants make my butt look big?" You know the answer. You can't say it. Everyone else knows the answer, and they're whispering it. Yes, they do, honey. But you can't say it.
Yeah, I mean, I would feel more comfortable saying that than saying this ain't Alabama as UAB's coach after getting embarrassed again. And now you've got Tulane rolling into town. Then you go to Army. Then you've got South Florida. This just ain't setting up good. And I just wonder if Trent takes accountability as this thing unfolds, or is it going to be more of, off-putting questions like, were you there? Yeah. Were you there? Didn't he maybe know this question would come, knowing if he really does know the history of these 2 programs?
Yeah, he should. And I never have quick answers always at my ready, but I do when it's other people. The quick answer would have been no, but because you said this, I'm assigned to this today. So if you'd answer my question, please.
That would have been the biggest slap in the face. Yeah. No, I'm supposed to be in Tuscaloosa.
I want to be here less than you want to be here.
Yeah. Our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama bringing you part of the show here. We'll jump into another big question going on down on the plains in Auburn. UCA with 35 urologists on hand, 16 locations across Alabama, treating all your urological needs from prostate health to kidney stones. They'll take care of you. Visit urologycentersalabama.com, urologycentersalabama.com to schedule your appointment today. And that phone number, 205-930-0920. And our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa, a great place to just go and chill until you can get back in the win column.
Yeah, how about this? You want to watch both Monday night games tonight? Send the wife or girlfriend to the Woodhouse Day Spa. They have got everything that she would absolutely love. You can stop by the Summit location, beautiful location there. See Stuart and the fine folks. Tell them the Next Round sent you, or you can order 24/7 online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. She can choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatments, skincare, waxing, nail services. Holidays will be here before you know it. Go on and pull the trigger on a gift card for the holidays. Great stocking stuffer. Voted America's best day spa since 2009. Again, order online 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com, or just stop by the beautiful location right there at the Summit Shopping Center.
We spent most of the first hour talking about Alabama's big win over Georgia, Alabama being the #1 team in the country. You can go and get our interview with Tyler Booker wherever you get our podcast, and also clips being sent out on everything social media from Forrester and Little T throughout the day at Next Round Live, on all platforms. But down at Auburn, it was another loss. We barely touched on this. Hugh Freeze not hiding his emotions afterwards. 5-game homestand. Before you hear from Hugh, worst case scenario, 5-game homestand, you thought they would be
3-2.
I thought they'd be 4-1.
I thought worst case 3-2.
I didn't think worst case was 4-1. I thought worst case was 3-2. Yeah, I mean, I could have seen them losing both. I didn't think Cal was in the cards, really, in the preseason. Now we're talking preseason, right? Before the season started. I didn't really think Cal was in the cards. I thought, maybe Arkansas's a little better than we think, and then Oklahoma has got a good defense. I could have seen them losing both conference games.
Well, they're 2-3. They don't play at home this whole month. Tomorrow begins October. They don't play at home in October. It starts with a road trip to Georgia. Another one gets away. You hate to say this, but you can draw up a scenario that this team is 5-0 instead of 2-3. Here's Hugh Freeze.
That's what I told them in there is, man, I couldn't be prouder of the way they represented Auburn with their heart and fight today. And, me not helping them find a way to win that game it sucks and it stings, and because they deserve to be celebrating right now.
Little different tone from Hugh this week. One more here on.
I think he noticed the confrontation with Peyton on the sideline, that this thing's about to take a turn for the worse. I'll stand behind it. I still think, and it's hard to say. I think I'm in the vast minority now. I still think he's a good coach, but the last 2 weeks have been really bad looks. And to blow that game, that was a complete meltdown.
He may be a good coach. This one, you could go back to some of the other ones and pin it on players. This was a Hugh Freeze loss, 100%.
By the way, I think they're a 4-win team this year.
When it's all said and done?
Yeah.
We'll get the schedule after we hear more sound. Give Forrester time to do that. Give me 8 and then 9, because you're bringing up the Hugh Freeze, Peyton Thorne, coaching, whatever you want to call it, that was going on the sidelines there. And this is coming off a week where it was a lot of blame at the quarterbacks.
Before you do that, because Scott says people are giving – can I get Scott to tell me which one I need to listen to here? Scott says we're giving Hugh Freeze a pass here, that there was more blame. Which one is it, Scott? Is it 9 or 10 that I need to listen to?
Oh, I think it's the one you're about to hear.
Okay.
I think there is some finger pointing in this one.
So everybody was like, all right, Hugh Freeze finally took it to himself, and Scott's like, go listen to that again. There was still some finger pointing in this one.
Exactly, because he was still going to let the quarterback do what the quarterback does.
Yeah.
Throw the football, and it didn't go well. Here's Hugh Freeze on Peyton Thorne.
Offensively, we had a really good plan. Coaches did a good job with a great plan. I thought we ran the ball effectively, threw some good passes. Unfortunately, didn't execute well enough, and obviously gave them the points on the turnover. And I shouldn't have put him in that position and have him have that option. So
yeah.
It's
Oh, you can keep going, yeah.
It's one that stings for sure, and I've got to help our team get over the edge when you have a chance to win a game like that. Proud of those young kids. Thought they played really well and are starting to mature some. But gosh, this one stings for sure.
Yeah. I see what Scott's saying there. I should have put him in that position. In other words, I
thought Peyton, outside of that one decision,
his best game at Auburn.
Yeah, I thought he was an A. I mean, if you get that from Peyton, that's all you maximized what you can get out of Peyton.
Yeah.
Awful turnover there at the end. But if you would have said before the game he goes 300 plus, 3 touchdowns through the air and only the 1 turnover, you would take that on any day. I think more importantly, Hugh needs to shoulder the blame on the way Jarquez was running the football. How was he not getting more touches?
17 carries, 2 receptions, 19 touches.
Again, I'll say this. Just run him at the end and let Oklahoma have the ball back. What is so bad about Oklahoma having the ball in that game?
Yeah, what are the chances that, and as good as Auburn's defense had been, that they are going to go back-to-back length of the field drives?
Push special teams out of it. Rank right now the units in that game that you watched Saturday. Rank the units.
The way they played in that game.
In that game Saturday.
Auburn's defense would be one.
Auburn's defense is one.
Oklahoma's defense, Auburn's offense, Oklahoma's offense.
So the fourth unit, and I think anybody that watched that game would rank them
the best
fourth.
unit on the field Saturday. Yeah.
Why would you not want that, right? Why would you? Because what most people will say is, well, if Oklahoma doesn't have the ball, they can't score. Au contraire. You saw that at the end. Oklahoma did not have the ball at the end, and they scored. Yep. So why would you not want Oklahoma possessing the football at the end of that game? Their offense was that's not even subjective. Their offense was the worst unit in that game. Run the ball, let that clock bleed as much as you can, and if you go 3 and out and punt it back to them, that is a win because they're back on offense.
And I do want to bring it up just because you made the point, offense, defense, no special teams. Auburn is airtight special teams year in, year out. This is on Hugh Freeze, too. Their special teams are a problem right now.
Yeah, backup kicker. I mean, he can't help the fact that his starting kicker has a serious health condition, and maybe we'll be back soon. But Towns Magoo did not handle that situation very well.
Peyton Thorne's the quarterback. He's got one of the guys with the C on his chest. He's the captain here, and the only way, as Brown's saying, possibly they lose that game is a pick 6, and that's what happened. Here's Peyton.
I don't really have a message right now, to be honest. It's so soon after the game, and the way the game ended, there's nothing for me to say right now to the team. Those guys don't want to hear it necessarily this soon. There's a process of letting it sink in. And so it's on to the next game. However, the emotions of this game, there is a grace period, I guess you could call it, where everyone just needs to calm down a little bit and soak in what just happened, including me. And so, the message will be that this one's over tonight, just like if we had won the game, and it's on to Georgia next week.
Big question. On the show tomorrow?
I think so, yeah. I mean, that guy did not play a bad game.
No.
It's one bad pass. But
did he have a 300 passing yards?
Yeah, 338, I think it was, Jim.
Yeah,
and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. 21 to 32.
No, that guy didn't play a bad game.
Here's your Milo's hard hot facts.
Okay.
Right here. In 3 games against Power 4 teams this year, over or under 15.5 points per game for the Auburn offense.
That would be under.
I suckered you in. It's 16 points.
It's still bad.
16 points, LT, is all they're going against Cal, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. They're averaging barely over 16 points a game. That's not what Hugh Freeze was brought in to do. Not what we were led to believe what Peyton Thorne could do, and more importantly, what those receivers.
That's what I was going to say. Like if you're one of those receivers, or if you're an Auburn fan, you fear that these guys get frustrated. Lambert Smith has been unbelievable.
He has been. He's the best of the receivers.
Yeah, he really is. And Cam Coleman, people think that he's got Ryan Williams-like potential. He's been a little banged up, obviously, but, you start to lose these games and your offense is in a shell like that. These receivers are going to get frustrated.
The very first drive, 3rd down pass, right on the money, was going to be a first down. That I don't know if that 40-whatever yard touchdown run happens right after that for Oklahoma, if it happens still in the game or not. But you get the drive going. If Cam catches that perfectly thrown ball, you're one of the best receivers in the country. You make that catch 9. I'll use a Hugh Freeze quote. You make that catch 9 out of 10 times there, and he dropped it, and that stalls you on the very first drive out there. And you bounce back from that, and you have a good day offensively. But That was a sign of things to come. Milo's bringing you that hot.
Do you
cold,
think anybody
hot fat.
asked Hugh in the press conference if you played Oklahoma 9 more times, how often would you beat them?
Make him up today.
Yeah. Hey, can you name something better than a Milo's burger? The only answer here, 100 Milo's burgers, which can now be easily done through Milo's Catering. The catering options range from individualized box lunches, ideal for work or team gatherings, to customized build-your-own burger bars, which would be a hit at any tailgate. Special offer to the Next Round viewers and listeners out there. Milo's offering $10 off the first catering order this fall. Enter catering10, all caps. That's catering10 when you order Milo's Catering through Milo's mobile app. To learn more about Milo's catering options, please visit milohamburgers.com/catering. That is miloshamburgers.com/catering. Stay saucy.
And our friends at NASCAR, they're ready to race this weekend. It is race weekend in the playoffs as they come to Talladega with advancement on the line this weekend. We start off with a truck race on Friday, and then the Xfinity playoff race on Saturday, and then the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Cool Ray Garage Experience, upgrade to that. Get your tickets at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, 877-GO-TO-DEGA. It's happening this weekend. Tickets are on sale all the way through the races this weekend, plus the rodeo on Friday, the Jake Owen concert on Saturday. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
It's earlier in the game, so it gets forgotten a little bit. But when you got stopped on 4th and goal, I also don't understand running Sam Jackson inside on those plays.
Didn't they run him? It was 1st and goal at the 6.
And they ran him there.
How many times did Hunter touch the ball?
He touched it one time on 3rd and goal. He gained a yard.
Did he? I thought he touched it on 0.
No, he touched it on 3rd and goal. You ran Sam Jackson twice, Peyton Thorne once.
Yeah, the 4th down call was awful.
Yeah. I don't get that. If I'm going to run now, if you're trying to get to the corner.
Well, and that was on the timeout, right? Didn't they get a pre-look? Didn't they call a timeout?
Something like that. Yeah, I think so. But I don't. If you're going to use Sam Jackson, I don't understand the concepts of running him between the tackles. Not the biggest guy in the world there, and you've got Jarquez Hunter.
First team All-SEC preseason. The media doesn't get anything right. But 1st and goal at the 6, if you run Jarquez Hunter 4 times into that brick wall, is there a chance he gets 6 yards?
There is. I mean, I know it's easier to say, but yeah, he should get more than 1 touchdown there. But I thought, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, 3rd down, they were trying to surprise in that look. Venables takes a timeout, and they go right back to that look, and they run it wide.
I can tell you real quick.
I'm almost positive that's what happened. You gave them the look, and then you went with the look you gave them, and they were ready for it.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right. So 1st and goal from the 6, Sam Jackson, no gain. 2nd and goal from the 6, Peyton Thorne for 3, to the 3. 3rd and goal from the 3, Jarquez Hunter for 2 to the 1, to your point. Maybe see if you can get 2 more yards. The second of the 2 yards will be in the end zone, and it's a touchdown. 4th and goal from the 1, timeout Oklahoma, and then you come back with Sam Jackson.
And that was it. It was Sam Jackson like in the Wildcat.
Yeah, and
they called the timeout,
yeah.
and Hugh Freeze kind of melts down because he thought he had him off guard, but then you call the same play that you were going to run.
He did have him off guard, LT. If I remember correctly, they were running people on and off the field, and Auburn had not substituted, if I remember correctly. If they'd have snapped the ball, it would have been a 1st down, if I remember that play correctly. Joel Klatt, in the next segment, we'll talk to Klatt about what he thinks about Alabama being the new number 1 team in the country, and then the game at Georgia. And we'll ask him the question that is on everyone's mind up here. Is Georgia possibly, looking down the road, a team that misses the college football playoffs? Klatt coming up in just a second. Before we tell you about a couple more of our great sponsors, keep the best and worst of the weekend rolling in. We have not forgotten the Braves. It's just the middle of football season, but it's a crazy Monday ahead in Atlanta where they've got to play a doubleheader.
Do you make the deal? Are you sitting there saying, hey, look.
We win one, you win one?
Don't you think that'll happen naturally? Because there's no benefit to winning both of them.
That's right. Whoever wins the first one rests everybody.
I would think so. There's no way I would pitch anybody.
I would think, but these are those weird games. The Braves are good, solid favorites in both of these games.
If I was the Diamondbacks, I would have flown in last night, and I would have
taken them out partying.
I'd have been guarding in between the locker rooms, making sure nobody was talking. Put your cell phone down.
No collusion.
No collusion.
Yeah, I don't think that can happen. But yeah, I mean, it does make sense. Whoever wins the early
rest everybody.
Yeah, we'll basically set everybody. But it's baseball, so weird things happen. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if somebody sweeps this.
12:10 ESPN2 today, doubleheader back to back before we get to Monday Night Football. The show being brought to you by great folks like our friends at New York Butcher Shop, ready to roll for a doubleheader Monday night, doubleheader day baseball. Man, just go by New York Butcher, get one of those great sandwiches at lunch.
Oh, the sandwiches, the huge deli sandwich is so underrated. Good luck on eating that thing by yourself. The fresh meats from, the chicken, the great fillets, everything Jim and his great staff do. Fantastic. 2 locations, the original Cahaba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well done service.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference.
The 2024 Yellowwood 500 weekend is coming back to Talladega Superspeedway Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Reserve your spot today by visiting TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Enhance your weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool-Raid, the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. Reserve your seat, your spot in the infield, or your camping site for the Yellowwood 500 weekend Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA.
Hey, you. Feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham. We got now.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemp Hill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemp Hill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemp Hill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
We talk about all the biggest games every Monday at 10:30 with Fox Sports analyst Joel Klatt, presented by MyBookie.ag, promo code NEXTROUND. If it is meaningful at all in college football, we cover it Mondays with Joel Klatt, presented by MyBookie.ag on the Next Round.
All right, Joel Klatt joins us momentarily. Show being brought to you by one of our new sponsors, our friends at Hillside Music and Q. We were out there for a Bud Light game night a couple of weeks ago. I had some of the best wings I've ever had right there. It was so good.
Yeah, I had a chance to sit down with Charles, one of the owners, John Holland, the chef. Great family atmosphere, but it's a great place to watch games. The way they've got that thing laid out, They've got the 4 like 60s right there on the bar. Fantastic looking bar. The food is great. They've got happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 to 6. Live music starting at 6 on Thursdays. Live music Thursday, Friday, Saturday. College football Saturdays, you can get their Hillside Brew, only $4. The pitcher's only $15. They've got NFL Sunday ticket, trivia on Wednesday nights, Monday Night Football. Make sure you stop in. Meet and 3 or meet and 2s for Friday is on lunch. They're always streaming the Vestavia High School football game on Friday night. So just a great neighborhood bar right there on Highway 31. We were out there a few weeks ago with our friends at Bud Light. Stop in, see Charles John, all the fine folks right there at Hillside.
Yeah, Joel Klatt's about to join us now. Klatt, by the way, this week on his way to see the nation's new number 7 team, Penn State, as they play host to UCLA in a great uniform game. But we've got Klatt to join us now, of course, to talk about the new number 1. What conference? The new number 1 team in the country. Is it going to come from the Southeastern Conference?
Nobody plays defense like the SEC. You saw that.
And now the new number 1 team has to go on the road after that emotional win over Georgia. They've got to go on the road. It's tough to win in the SEC on the road. They're at Vanderbilt this weekend.
Got to go to Nashville, Klatt.
I don't know how you do that. I hope Justin Wilcox writes a book about how difficult it is to win in the SEC on the road.
Oh, that was at Auburn. Klatt is with us each week, courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on to MyBookie.ag. Double that initial deposit bonus. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. How are you, man? You good?
I'm great. How are you guys? I'm still in kind of a state of euphoria about just the game that we got to watch. And I know Bama fans are probably not happy about, or excuse me, Georgia fans are not happy about the loss, but just like no dog in the fight. Saturday night was incredible. The entirety of that game. And I kind of walked through it on my show. It was like every aspect I loved. The environment was insane. Everyone's been talking about like Brian Denny. And yeah, like they seem to have just figured it out there as far as the environment goes. It was fantastic. I felt like you had 2 teams that were both making plays as opposed to making mistakes. And obviously there are mistakes made, but like big plays back and forth, trading blows, individual performances that were outstanding at the top of college football, and you got to kind of see the vulnerabilities of each team. I think that there were moments in that game where you could legitimately say each of those teams could absolutely win the national championship, and then there were moments in that game where you could legitimately say, well, if they play like this, they'll get beat 2 more times with that schedule in that league. So it was just an incredible night. I always say this, but it just was a great reminder of why this sport is so special. It was just it was such a great night.
My hyperbolic moment of the day, a couple of segments ago, Klatt, I said, Jalen Milroe, could he end up being Alabama's best ever quarterback if he does win a championship? And I know that sounds crazy, but this is a guy that was benched about this time last year. And you heard Kirby Smart on the postgame. He's like, man, this guy might be the best running back in the nation that can throw the football. Like, I don't know how you defend Milroe. He's playing with a ton of confidence. He's got playmakers all over the place, and you can't defend what he does with his legs.
It's interesting. I had not thought about that. What a great framing. That's a really smart framing in terms of like, could he be the best ever? Can I shift the framing just like an inch?
Please.
At least in the Saban era, let's just say the Saban era, have we seen Alabama win a championship because of their quarterback?
I mean, in a singular game, switching from Hurts to Tua won a national championship. So yes,
correct
is the answer to that.
In the second half.
Yeah,
in the second half. But it's not like I guess what I'm saying is like this is so clearly Jalen Milroe's team, his identity, like the entirety of what makes them great is his ability.
Yeah, I would agree with you on this. Yeah,
I'm trying to
from McElroy to McCarron.
Yes, it's hyperbolic, and every quarterback is important, but maybe his level of importance to this team is greater than any of the other quarterbacks that actually won championships.
I could see that. That's interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, who would have thought Milroe was completing 73% of his passes a month into the season after playing Georgia? I mean, and really he's made 1-2 mistakes the entire year. He's leading the team in rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's been incredible.
He really has. You know, the only, like, if I were nitpicking, and this is when I studied him really closely before the Wisconsin game, which it's always a bummer because, like, you get to study these guys, and when you get into a game that's just not a very competitive game, it's hard to dive into like the schematics or the football of it. You start into talking about overarching things. And so I didn't get to discuss this part, but I thought that his next step, you know, he was clearly early last year, just like very athletic and just struggled throwing the football. And we saw that against Texas, recognizing coverages down the field and so on. That got a lot better, guys. And he developed through that to the point where I think he was one of the best 4 quarterbacks throwing the ball down the field last year. And we talked about that at one point. And then he was really good when he was throwing the ball short. And then he struggled when he threw the ball intermediate. Okay, so what I wanted to get into during the game, and obviously the game didn't allow for it, was the fact that as a quarterback, throwing the ball deep and throwing the ball short generally are pre-snap decisions. Okay, they are alerts based on pre-snap looks. So if you're going to take a shot, it is an alert that's built into the system, and you're getting the ball and you're reading basically just like that route to a check down. Okay, so it's like touchdown, check down. And then short throws under 5 yards, that's all pre-snap as well, based on what you see and where the leverage is and what's going on. Intermediate throws are post-snap decisions because that's when you're starting to have to do one of two things, whether it's read out the progression or read what I would call a zone movement key. So versus man coverage, you read straight through the progression, and then versus zone coverage, you're trying to bracket with the spacing of your concept a single defender, and then you're making that defender wrong. So you've got a specific zone movement key, and you're keying on him, and you're trying to make him wrong. So where I thought he needed to grow most was his post-snap decision-making, and that bore out in the numbers because intermediate, he was ranked like 90th last year, and then both in short and deep passing, he was in the top 5. So it was very stark, the differences. What I've seen from him this year is tremendous growth in that post-snap decision-making intermediate passing game. We know what he can do with his legs. That's a given, okay? He's the most dynamic player on the field anytime he's on the field. Now, can you become a guy that can control the game both pre-snap and post-snap throwing the football? And if he does that, he will be the most difficult player to defend in America.
And I want to give you a chance to continue with that thought because last week you talked about dropping the iPad a couple of times on some offensive scheming. But here comes Nick.
For Oklahoma.
Yeah. So here comes Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer. And I assume you have a great deal of respect for the defensive mind of Kirby Smart and Sherman, Will Muschamp, who worked Sunday through Friday on that staff. That's great defensive IQ. For the first 18 minutes, their head looks like they were swimming. What'd you see on the tape that Alabama was doing that was making some great college football minds, their heads swim in the first 18 minutes?
I mean, there was a lot, but also, you have to combine it with the emotion and speed that everything was taking place. There is no way to replicate the speed with which Alabama is going to operate. And I'm talking about with the threat of the quarterback position, with the run game, and with the amount of shifts and motions that you're going to have. Very Sarkisian-like, like when you turn on a tape of Kalen DeBoer, whether it was at Washington or Fresno or now with Alabama, you get a ton of different sets. And you have to work so hard as a defense just to identify what's going on. Well, you could tell early in that game, and remember, Kirby comes from the Saban tree, and they want to be intricate on defense, and they want to be in proper structures based on your structure. Well, when you're changing that as often as they are, they're having to work incredibly hard before the snap to try to line up, gain proper leverage. And so when you're then creating those structures, they're working hard, and then you get some misdirection. You get on the outside, you're getting these fly sweep type motions. You're having them read all the things that's going on in the backfield. It was just too much. And you could tell it was just too much. What you saw in the second half was Georgia say, okay, you guys get in all your formations. We're going to simplify and allow our guys to just put their cleats in the ground, look into the backfield, and try to react. And I felt like that's what let them have more success defensively. As Georgia simplified defensively, they began to stop Alabama, at least on a more consistent basis. Now, you could say that Alabama got too conservative, and maybe that's the case. The basis of this is, though, the structures that Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer use are very difficult to defend. And that's what I thought you were seeing from a mind-blown perspective. It's not necessarily the concepts, because, guys, there's nothing new under the sun in football. Like, you're going to see stretch read with the quarterback power. You're going to see quarterback counter. You're going to see regular read with the quarterback on the outside. Guys know how to defend those concepts. There's nothing new under the sun. But when you're making everybody work that hard pre-snap, then it becomes too much. And it was only until Georgia calmed down, simplified on defense, and stopped trying to match structures that they were able to have a little bit of success.
Joel Klatt is with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He joins us each week courtesy of MyBookie.ag. A couple Monday Night Football games tonight. You can play those at MyBookie.ag. Code next round doubles that initial deposit. Double. And that is free money to play with right away. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. You've watched a lot of film on this Alabama team, and then you saw them in person against Wisconsin. Kirby said after the game, he was asked by the game day people about what do you do for Ryan Williams, and Kirby said, you can't double Ryan Williams and spy Jalen Milroe. You got to.
That's correct.
He didn't say those words, but this is what he meant. Klatt is you can't double him and you can't spy.
I know exactly what I remember. What he's I know exactly what you're talking about in terms of what he was saying.
So how do teams defend that moving forward? If you've got, you pick your poison there, right? You either say
you don't. You know, like that's the thing is. Ryan Williams is a problem for defenses.
I'd say.
This is what makes teams great. There isn't a way to structurally stop Alabama. There are a lot of teams in the country that you can scheme to stop. You can't do that against Alabama. I don't think you can do that against Ohio State either, but in a different way because of their run game and what they've got on the outside. It has to be personnel. You just have to have a corner that can match up. You have to have a safety that can cover a tremendous amount of ground. The only way to sit there and really match up with Alabama and their offense is to have great players. And to be honest with you, I think that the pressure falls on the safety. Because you can't really play quarters coverage, and you can't really play half coverage. So quarters coverage would mean that the safety is pattern reading the number 2 release. Well, that's essentially putting number 1 in a one-on-one. Well, you don't want to put Ryan Williams one-on-one with any corner, okay? Maybe if you have a Will Johnson or a Travis Hunter, you would be like, okay, maybe we'll match up and try to play a little one-on-one. But you can't play half safety. See, quarter safety would give that guy. So when I say pattern reading on number 2, that means that safety is both in coverage and he's got a run fit and responsibility based on the read of the number 2 receiver. If that receiver blocks or goes laterally, he inserts himself into the box. So that's a way to gain an extra hat, in particular against a quarterback run, which is much needed. So quarters coverage would be something that you would go to. You can't really do that with Ryan Williams because that's essentially one-on-one coverage with the corner. Well, you can't play half safety, which is cover 2, because that's not really a run fit safety. Now, he'll come up and try to support the run, but he doesn't have true run responsibilities based on any read of the number 2 receiver. He would just be in a half position over the top helping the corner. Now, the corner's responsibility in half defense would be to jam that player in order to allow that safety time to work over the top and do all of those things. So you're both rerouting the wide receiver and making it life difficult for him at the line of scrimmage and putting someone over the top. That's what you'd like to do against Ryan Williams, but you can't do that because all they've got to do is run zone read to Ryan Williams' side, and you don't have enough hats to stop Jalen Milroe. So it's a problem. There's not a structure of defense that can do it. It just takes great players. You've got to have a safety that can be in half and also stop the run for 2 yards against one of the most dynamic players in college football. There's only a couple of safeties that I've seen on film that can do that. One of them would be Downs. I know that that's probably a sore spot with Alabama people, but like Downs is the best fill safety that I've seen on film in college football. He's downhill like a mother, even out of a half position. So again, it takes individual greatness in order to stop what they're doing. And in my estimation, here's what you do is that you take away the big plays and you force Alabama to snap it 10 times to score. So here's what I would do. If I was defending Alabama, I would say, I'm going to take away Ryan Williams and his ability to hurt me like that and in one play score. And I'm just going to force them to at least run Milroe 5 times or 6 times and do a lot of different things and snap it 7 times, 8 times, 9 times, 10 times in order to score. 1, you would be exposing the quarterback to more hits during the course of the game. And 2, you'd be playing the odds that maybe you're going to get an offensive penalty. And in a couple of those series, they're going to go backwards at least for 1 play or 2 plays and have to punt. That's what I would do. Now, whether you can do that or not based on the way that your defensive line is playing is another story. I know that's a long-winded answer, but it's the problem.
Well, hey, it's a fantastic breakdown. Yeah.
Hyperbolic moment number 2 on the show. Ryan Williams, if he stays healthy, will be the best. No disrespect to Julio Jones, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, all those great guys. He will be the best wide receiver. And I was saying this earlier. I had a Tennessee fan watching the game with me Saturday, Klatt, and he was like, this dude has got to be here 3 more years? Like, what in the hell is going on? And my question to you would be, I thought it was amazing hearing that this guy wasn't even born when Nick Saban took the Alabama job. But do you think at a true 17 he could play in the NFL right now? I know that sounds crazy.
Oh, yeah. No. He could be playing next week in the NFL. There's a lot of this is one of the better true freshman groups that I've seen in a long time across the country, by the way. Look at what Raiola, how calm he looks at quarterback at Nebraska. Now, I know Nebraska's not #1 team in the country, but man, this guy looks like he's going to be playing football for a long time. Look at what Jeremiah Smith is doing at Ohio State. And I know that game was on Peacock, so not many people saw it, but that dude is just an absolute show. Just an absolute show. And here's what's wild. I don't think that that's a crazy statement that you just made, although Ryan Williams is much more different than Julio. Julio was just physically so dominant. I would say this, Ryan's a better player as a freshman than Julio was as a freshman. Granted, different offenses, and, Nick back then wasn't throwing the ball anywhere. That was a much different offense. I will put it to you this way. The 2 best wide receiver rooms of the last decade plus have been Alabama and Ohio State, without question. Guys, look at all the players that are now littered in the NFL from those 2 programs. And there are 2 true freshmen at those respective programs currently that could be the best of them all. And we're going to get to see them now for the next 3 years, which is bonkers. The play he made, it reminded me of the only guy that makes that full speed jab steps spin is a guy like Tyreek. That's the only time I've ever seen guys do something like that in the open field. It's wild, man. He's so good. 17.
You ever play with a receiver that was close to that talent?
So I got to play with no. I mean,
sure do.
My first year as a starter, we did have a good wide receiver group. 2 guys that ended up playing in the NFL, Derek McCoy and DJ Hackett. And then on that team, we also had a young Jeremy Bloom, who was the fastest player I've ever seen on a football field. Now,
his sister, great movie, by the way, Molly's Game.
Incredible. By the way, quick tangent. That was going on when we were all playing, when I was playing with Jeremy. And I remember him at one point saying hey, do you play poker? And I was just like, no, not really. And that's now after watching that movie, I was like, holy cow.
And Jeremy wanted to be an underwear model instead of returning punts in the NFL, right?
Jeremy would have killed it nowadays because of his skiing background. But he was, Jeremy wasn't like a football player as much as he was just an incredible speedster. These guys now, man, you can tell that they've been playing 7-on-7. They've been groomed to be great as wide receivers, and they're certainly doing that. It's fun to watch. It's really fun to watch.
All right, you can see.
You guys, are you guys concerned at all? I had this take on my show, and I know you're probably going to get out of here, but
you're good.
I gave this take on my show, and Bama fans are going to just kill me.
Oh no!
I come away from that game thinking to myself, like, oh, if I'm Georgia, I can't wait for another shot. I'm like, just give me another shot.
Well, my only response to that is they've been saying that for 3 or 4 years, and every time they get another shot, they lose.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. I do think, though, that like the one thing that we've talked about that definitely showed up was there are big plays to be made on that secondary.
Yep.
For Alabama. And that, I mean, Beck threw it 20 yards or more down the field 17 times.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, 14 of them in the second half.
Yeah.
No, I said the same thing.
Staggering.
Yeah, Saturday night and all day Sunday and earlier today, I said the same thing, that because you don't have that element of what you had the first 18 minutes, they'll be a little bit more prepared of how you're going to attack them, and it'll be on Sheridan and DeBoer to come back with a counter serve, after serving it up the first time. I think that's a great point.
Yep. All right, you can see Klatt and Gus and Jenny on UCLA Penn State Saturday, 11 o'clock, Fox Big Noon Kick. Thank you very much for the time.
You guys know anything about UCLA?
I watched them.
Get some help.
I watched them again Saturday night.
It was a crime how I lost that game. I was laying 25 and a half. Dylan Gabriel, they're going in to go up 35-3 and just lays one out with seconds to go in the first half, and Addison takes it 96 yards, and Oregon doesn't score again offensively as far as a touchdown. UCLA never scored an offensive touchdown of the game. I mean, it was the most crazy play that killed everything. One play.
That's horrific.
But UCLA sucks.
I don't actually bet, but I give picks on my Thursday episode of the show. And I gave Illinois covering I think it was 17.5 against Penn State. And it's 21-7. And it's like 30 seconds left. And Luke Altmaier scrambles out, and there's a strip sack, and the ball is laying on the field with and I'm just like, if I get scoop and scored here on this pick, I'm going to lose my mind. And I thought to myself, this is why I don't bet. I'm watching it on in a plane, and I'm like, I'll jump out of the plane right now, and I don't even have a dime riding on it. I can't. Lance, I don't know how you do this. I can't even – that ball laying on the field, and it was just kind of slowly
I had Penn State. I was pulling for the scoop and score.
You wanted the scoop and score.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, that's crazy. Anyway, sorry,
So
guys.
I know UCLA's bad, but you can watch them at Penn State, 11 o'clock, Fox Big New Kick. Thank you, Klatt. Have a great week.
You got it. See you guys.
All right, terrific breakdown on Alabama there with Joel Klatt, presented by MyBookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on. Double that initial deposit. 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. Another week of college football coming up. They'll double that deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. Code next round. MyBookie.ag. Code next round.
4 downs in just a second in this segment right here, but our friends at the Pan Store had everybody dressed perfectly at Bryant-Denny Stadium this past weekend. You guys looked marvelous, and I know you looked fantastic, thanks in part to our friends at the Pan Store, the original location in Leeds, also 2 locations in Birmingham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, and in Auburn. It's your game day headquarters. Bama and Auburn, polos, hats, and quarter zips from brand names like Gentile and Antigua, Cutter and Buck, and Horn Legend. Ladies, they've got the footwear, the Western boots that were out because of the cooler temperatures, the Hokas, the New Balances, the rompers and the dresses. They were ready to go this weekend with free alterations and free gift wrapping. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store, pantsstore.com. Pantstore.com. 4 Downs brought to you every day by our friends at Slice. Tell us about Slice LT and then serve them up for us.
I had the opportunity to get into the Vestavia location of Slice. Sat at the bar last night. Enjoyed some incredible pizza. Great selection of beers as well. There are 5 locations. Lakeview, the one I was at last night, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. Newest location in Edgewood. Getting to see the Bajaya Brothers local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Current job longer. We haven't had this guy in 4 downs in a while. Mike Norvell or Gus Malzahn?
Mike sleeps under like an $80 million blanket, I believe. And to Dunaway's point, that it's beyond just the finances of it. It's the image of it with their argument that they need to be out of the
real quick,
ACC.
neither one of these guys is going to lose their job this year, but I'm just saying, who do you think is longer, Tallahassee, Orlando? Malzahn, that was a bad look this past weekend.
I think Norvell will be longer in Tallahassee. He'll outlive a lot of guys that have worse records just because of the money.
I agree with Brownie. It's Norvell that will be there longer. First of all, at this current program, I know where Gus has been at Auburn, but at this current program, Gus hasn't lived up to where former UCF coaches have been. Norvell has at least had a team that was unbeaten in the regular season, and he's got that big contract, so Norvell will be there longer.
Second down.
It's amazing that we're almost 2 hours into the show and we have not mentioned, well, I guess we did one time, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. And Ole Miss being Ole Miss. But if I asked you who wins college football playoff game first, Lane Kiffin or Lincoln Riley?
You know, everybody talked about USC's. I saw USC dominated Wisconsin. I'm like, USC did not dominate Wisconsin. That game was 21-10.
They were getting whipped at halftime.
They were.
It's one of those games. If you had Wisconsin plus points, it was criminal that you lost that game. The way USC played in the second half. USC is not a good team.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not.
And I don't think either one of these teams is in the playoff this year.
28 straight points for USC to come back and win that game 38-21. Defense did at least start shutting down Wisconsin there. I'm still going to go Lane Kiffin. Mark Stoops can yuck up a game. Lane Kiffin can get it right. Jackson Dart has these games. It's his track record. He didn't play well. His team wasn't prepared. They'll get right this weekend on the road at South Carolina. Or maybe
third down.
Boy,
it's a tough game at South Carolina.
How many people will tease Ole Miss plus a half against South Carolina?
A lot.
They can't lose these games back to back.
A lot.
But how in the hell did South Carolina whip Kentucky like they did? Boy, this is a crazy question. If I would have asked you this, you would have thought that I was on massive drugs back in the summer. More regular season wins this year, the Georgia Bulldogs or the Washington Commanders?
They're going to win that division, Washington is. Jaden Daniels has been sensational as a rookie. Better start for Jaden Daniels this year than C.J. Stroud last year, and C.J. Stroud took the NFL by storm. Daniels has been better.
Yeah, the only better QBR right now is Sam Darnold.
Yeah. In fact, Jaden Daniels' NFL record through 4 games with an 82.1% completion rate. I still will take Georgia winning 10. I think the Commanders come in about 10, but I'll take Georgia. Maybe they can get 11. I don't think the Commanders get 11.
I do. I'm going to lean Georgia. I think it's like 11-9. I think the Commanders are going to come back to earth a little bit.
So?
I did say in the offseason that I believe they were a team that could really surprise and win the East. But there's no way Jaden Daniels can play at this level, and their defense still isn't as good as it needs to be. Really good after the adjustment, after the first drive yesterday for Arizona and Kyler Murray going down to getting 7. But I think this Georgia team, maybe this is what they needed.
Yeah, you said that after the Kentucky game. I mean, a lot of people, not just you, but a lot of people said that after the Kentucky game. Maybe it's this. I don't know.
And maybe Alabama's just that good.
I think Alabama is that good, and I think Georgia's really good. So I'm going to say Georgia's still over the Commanders.
Fourth down.
Another one I didn't think I'd be asking. More wins this year, the Auburn Tigers or Colorado?
I got to look at Colorado's remaining schedule.
They got a tough schedule coming up. I mean, both of these teams, I don't think either team is going to be a bowl team. Now, I know Colorado, Dion would laugh at that if you brought it up right now.
Well, he'd have every right to laugh at it. Now,
So what do they got? 3 wins right now? They're 3-1?
3-1.
Yeah.
Now, again, the Baylor win.
Find me 3 more wins.
But you didn't think UCF would be one either, in fairness to them.
No.
And their defense played great, shutting down an offensive rushing attack that was averaging 6-something yards a carry.
After a bye, Kansas State's not playing well right now. I think they could beat Kansas State.
There is 0 chance.
Okay. Kansas State, BYU, at Arizona.
Arizona looked great Saturday night.
Cincinnati's not very good.
I'll give them a win there.
At Texas Tech, you just said Texas Tech not going to hold on.
Still, Texas Tech's going to be a healthy favorite in that one.
Utah is a vulnerable football team. They just lost to
Cam
Arizona.
Rising will be back, right?
Yeah. At Kansas has been very disappointing. Then Oklahoma State has been one of the most disappointing teams in the country so far. There's wins left on that schedule.
I think there's 1 or 2 wins left. Again, I'm surprised they're playing as good as they are.
You only need 3.
To be a bowl team.
I'll take Colorado more wins than Auburn. I cannot believe I'm saying that.
I will say Colorado's 5 wins, Auburn's 4 wins.
Well,
so you're going Colorado too.
I'll lean Colorado, but I don't feel good about either one of these teams in the back 66% of their schedule.
I would take Colorado 6, Auburn 5. I think Colorado gets their bowl and Auburn just misses it. So I would, by the same margin, go Colorado as well. That's 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, make sure you stop at one of those 5 locations for lunch or dinner, slice and a salad, pick up a couple of pies on the way home. Go see the Bajalia Brothers' incredible local pizza, from the soul pie to the hot mama. You're going to love it. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
Obviously, storm damage all over the southeast, and as we always tell you, when you have storm damage around here, make sure you're getting it from the repairs and the services you're getting from a respectable person. And that's what you get from Greg from Pell City. Unfortunately, if you're in Georgia or in Florida or up in the Carolinas watching and listening to us, that's out of Greg's area. But just keep in mind, when something like that happens around here, whether it's straight line winds, thunderstorms, or those devastating tornadoes that happen all the time here, Greg from Pell City is the trusted name. Remember the face, remember the name. He's not just coming in like you get in these storms from Texas or somewhere out west, trying to come in and do a lot of quick work to take advantage of some sadness in your life. He's here every day helping you, the Alabama family here in Central Alabama, for storm repairs, for roof replacement, and for a free no-cost roof inspection. The name we trust is Greg from Pell City. Greg Nelson, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531.
Follow LT on Twitter at thelancetaylor.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus, with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trussville. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Hey, you feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by, ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We'll get to our stock reports here in just a second to get to everything that we saw in college football in this weekend. LTDNB with us. If you're new to the show or just watching us right now, please hit the thumbs up button. That helps us out tremendously. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube or anywhere else, set your alerts so you know when we're live. A couple of more reactions from college football this hour. The sound of the day being brought to you by our friends at Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster, champyschicken.com to get the menu. Sterling and the crew have been at that location in Alabaster for over a decade. And you get the opportunity to go down there and get that southern fried chicken brined overnight. It's just unbelievable food. And don't forget the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales as well. A great way to start a meal off or eat the meal in itself right there at Champy's Chicken, champyschicken.com. Ryan Williams been much talked about since his big game against Georgia, that great defensive program over there. The 17-year-old gets asked about the two freshmen making the plays. He had the offensive play, then the other number two, Zabian Brown, had the interception to seal it. Here's Ryan right after the contest.
You make the play on offense, Zabian Brown makes the play on defense, two freshmen. I mean, can you talk about your relationship with him and what a big-time moment that is for a guy like that to step up?
Man, that's my dog. We like 2-2, and I'm pretty sure he said the same thing over there. But, yeah, before, it's crazy because we played NCAA last night, and it was like a close game, and he caught the game-winning pick six. So this morning I was like, bro, you going to catch a pick. And he was like, of course, like, that's what I'm going to try to do anyway. And, game-winning interception. I was like, man. And we called it. I was screaming. That's how I lost my voice, because I was screaming. I was like, I told you. So, yeah, that's how I lost my voice.
A little Hollywood there for you in that description of the story.
They picked on Zabian Brown. They picked on him all night.
Until they went back, and I was about to ask that. You think they went back to that play one too many times or too early in that drive there?
Maybe. I agree with Luganbill. I heard you ask him this earlier today on Monday Morning Live, and Lance, he said just wasn't, maybe not the play call, it just wasn't the best throw in the world. It was a bit underthrown.
Yeah, look, I think Beck lost a little, when we were about to do stock up, stock down. I don't know if you guys have Beck stock down. He played great in the second half, but, way too many mistakes.
Yeah. But they picked on Zabian Brown. I think, I know he gave up more completions than anybody in the Alabama secondary.
Yeah.
And I know with the passing yardage, it's going to be easy to pick on that Alabama secondary. And I know people are going to say, there's yardage to be had. I think Klatt just said it. I actually think that secondary is going to mature through the year. I think by the end of the year, that's going to be a pretty good secondary. You're good at safety. You're good on one corner, and I think Zabian Brown will continue to develop. You've got some depth back there. Red Morgan's getting a lot of playing time. Devontae Smith was in and out with cramps in that game, but when he was in, it seemed like the secondary was better. It seemed like they dropped off just a little bit when Smith was out with the cramps.
Mbakwe is coming along as well.
He had a good breakup.
You have a lot of talent there. He is a guy, and that is a defense. Luganbill, you can go back and see it Monday Morning Live. He said just exactly what Brown just said, that by the end of the year, that Alabama secondary will look very different. Ryan Williams is one half of the issue. Jalen Milroe is the leader of the team with a Jalen Hurts T-shirt on this week. I don't know if Jalen needs any NIL love, but he got a little Jalen Hurts shirt on. Jalen Milroe gets asked a question about EG and the impact of his two freshmen. Remember, they got honored in the locker room right after the game by head coach Kalen DeBoer, and here's another one of the captains speaking about the young guys.
What are your thoughts on the freshman impact of Xavier Brown and Ryan Williams tonight?
Recruiting. They did a really good job for us. One thing I can say about those guys, they work really hard, and I'm all about a guy working in the dark. I see them working on their craft after practice. I see them communicating amongst each other. They do a really good job constantly trying to build, acknowledging that they're not a finished product. I think that's so important for our football team. Just keep on climbing, and as we talk about those two, they do a really good job at doing so.
Alabama post-game reaction there.
So I know the defense got out of whack a little bit in the second half. I don't really blame them as much as I blame the offense. The offense couldn't keep the football.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
And, we were having the conversation in game, like, all Alabama's got to do is extend some of these drives. Just move the chains,
right.
and the clock's going to catch.
Times, yeah.
But, I agree. I think the offense completely sputtered out.
A lot to do here. We've got to get back to a question that LT wanted to bring up earlier. Gutter Cap bringing you part of the show here.
Yeah, cap it, don't snap it. Look, if you don't have last thing you want to do after a long work week is get the dangerous ladder out. You get on the roof, you slip, you fall, you snap the neck and die. No good to the wife or kids. Cap it, don't snap it. Gutter cap, patented aluminum panel, fits over most existing gutters. We'll keep all that debris out. It will keep the gutters free and clean and free flowing. Right now, 45% off the retail price. Call Chris Stewart. Tell him the next round sent you. 205-823-2212 or guttercapbirmingham.com.
It's one of those things you just do once. You never have to worry about it again. NASCAR racing, you never want to do it once. Over at Talladega Super Speedway, we were just talking about friends who are coming to town to go racing this weekend. You can camp out. You can upgrade your garage experience with Cool Ray. Get inside the garages to see the top drivers right there. Other than racing, and all three of them are playoff races this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with the Yellowwood 500. But you get the rodeo on Friday, the Jake Owen concert on Saturday, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, or 877-GO-TO-DEGA. LT asked the question earlier, concerns about Georgia making the playoffs. Forster will pull up the Georgia schedule, but with that one loss now, 3 losses puts them likely on the outside, or at least in a precarious situation. Georgia missing the playoffs, is it a possibility in your mind, LT?
Well, there are 3 more losable games on that schedule. I don't think they're going to lose in Oxford to Ole Miss. I mean, Lane finds ways to lose games against teams he shouldn't, and obviously doesn't beat top 5s. But games against Texas, I still think they're better than Tennessee. I think worst case they're 10-2. I really do. I think there's probably one more loss, but I think they're 10-2, and I think they get in.
Yeah, I mean, at Texas and Tennessee worry me more than at Ole Miss. I mean, obviously that's the order I would go in if I'm a Georgia fan. Because one reason Tennessee worries me is I have now seen, Nico is not Jalen Milroe. They don't do the exact same thing. But, boy, I've seen my defense struggle against a high-powered offense. Now, again, it's on the road versus at Sanford Stadium, but that worries me a little bit.
I think that's going to be an outlier, though. I still think Georgia's going to have a dominant defense, and I think the offense is going to get better. I think the offense built confidence in the second half in Tuscaloosa.
I agree. I think you'll see that Saturday against Auburn. At Texas, obviously a difficult game. I still think they get in, and here's another factor that I think is going to impact this for any of these teams we talk about that are going to be perceived bubble teams. Notre Dame completely lost their margin for error. I don't know if they can beat USC or not, but a 10-2 Notre Dame team is not in this thing.
I don't think so
if
either.
One of those two is Northern Illinois, which it is, and that's going to open up another spot.
In fact, if it comes down to 11-1 Notre Dame or 10-2 Georgia on just that spot with that schedule, the wins, it's Georgia all day long.
I'll say Georgia's losses are at Alabama and at Texas, and Alabama and Texas are 1-2 or something like that.
And by the way, you make a case. I'd make a case for you if their losses to Northern Illinois with the teams they've beaten. I think I would take a 9-3 Georgia over 11-1 Notre Dame.
Well, I was going to bring this up, and look, it's going to be hard for Texas not to be there if this was the scenario. But let's just say that Georgia beats Texas, they find another loss somewhere else.
Georgia does.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. And
Georgia
so Georgia has 2 losses,
okay.
But they beat Texas. Texas doesn't go. You heard Klatt talking about Georgia itching to see Alabama again. I don't think 10-2 Georgia would want to see an 11-1 Alabama in Atlanta, just based on the fact if you lose that game and you lose to them twice, it would be hard to rebound after that. I think a 10-2 Georgia sitting at home watching Texas, Alabama, or Texas, Tennessee, or whoever it is, that's a better setup for Kirby Smart.
Remember, to not have 3 losses, they've got to win 2 of the 3 at Texas, at Ole Miss, and home to Tennessee. That's a lot for Kirby to make the playoffs. And now the expanded playoffs, where I think we said 17 times over the summer, I did not go back and count. There's no way Georgia under Kirby Smart would ever miss a 12-team playoff. And here we are in the very first year.
I still don't think that. I mean, Alabama played an A game in Tuscaloosa. It was an all-time classic.
I saw it 100 times, though, Saturday night and Sunday. Welcome Georgia to not playing the SEC East schedule that you've thrived on over the years. It's not the SEC East schedule anymore, and this is what the West is been having to do all the time. A tougher road. You got to go do it now. So we'll see what happens. On the flip side of that, before we get to our stock report, you've heard it. Kirby's 45-3 since 2021. The 3 losses all to Alabama. 1-6 against Alabama. Kalen DeBoer, 109-12 all time at all levels, including Division III, making my own peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the team. He's now 6-0 against Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart, Steve Sarkisian.
Well, and he's achieved something that he's never achieved in his coaching career before.
What's that?
He's the number 1 team in college football. I know at different levels he has, but, this is something as good as those Washington teams were. It was Georgia, Michigan, wire to wire last year. So this is a first for Kalen DeBoer.
This is, you would say, why do you leave a program?
And it won't be a last, I'll tell you that.
Why do you leave a program that is going to the Big Ten that just played for the national championship? This is why you leave Washington and come to Alabama. It's not all about the money. Money was good.
Yeah.
Money was great. Money was outstanding. But this is the opportunity. You're number 1 in the country.
Yeah, I don't care what. And look, Washington's got a good fan base. But there is not, in a million years, you can't replicate what was going on Saturday night in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
It's just impossible.
I think it was the best atmosphere in Bryant-Denny history. You just follow what Herb Street and them were saying.
You know what I noticed about that in terms of Kalen DeBoer, too? We always used to joke about Washington having the shaky camera game because their camera well was on that upper deck, and Washington's a loud environment. And when it would get going, that upper deck, it would shake, and we always called it the shaky camera game at Washington. Go watch the tail end of Ryan Williams' touchdown as he's running in the end zone. You got shaky camera game at Bryant-Denny, which I don't know that I've seen.
Watching that fourth quarter, I was like, damn, I wish I would have gone to the game. And then I thought to myself, I would have left at half.
It's the fourth quarter.
I would have.
At 30-7,
because the game wasn't even close. I would have beaten that traffic, gotten the hell out of there.
Hydra Live, a lot of Alabama fans needed that the next day in Tuscaloosa. Our friends at Hydra Live all over the area helping you out.
Yeah, IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy. It's all under one roof. Stop into one of those 2 great locations in Birmingham, also a location in Tuscaloosa. Make sure you mention the next round. You're going to get 20% off all of those great services. And hey, if you're tired of feeling stuck in your weight loss goals, discover a personalized approach that works with Hydra Life Therapy's weight loss therapy. Hydra Life combines hydration therapy with targeted weight loss treatments. They provide a comprehensive approach to weight management. Book your appointment online, hydralifetherapy.com. Walk-ins are welcome. Very important again. Mention the next round. 20% off all those great services. Hydra Life Therapy open daily 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, McCurry brings us the spotlight today. Don't forget, on Mondays we go overtime. You'll hear from Kalen DeBoer and Hugh Freeze coming up in the 12 o'clock hour before LT and Brock Hewer does Unlocked at 1 o'clock. So stay with us. The show does not end in 42 minutes. We just keep rolling along. Tell us about McCurry, Brownie, and then we'll hit the big button.
If you need a car, van, or truck, you rent from McCurry with locations in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Boy, I bet they are cleaning out some rentals today on Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa.
That's
what
right.
happened in here?
How do we get this one back to Coleman? How do we get this one back to Athens?
You can reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
The College Football Spotlight.
Stock up, stock down. College football stock report.
All right, I'll start us off here. The UNLV program, man, and Barry Odom. Hats off to them. Barry Odom's 13-5, by the way, as the head coach at UNLV. Last week, Matthew Sluka tried to hold them hostage. He said, take the money somewhere else, buddy, not right here. He goes with his backup quarterback. What did I tell you? Better passing quarterback. He ran it still for 119 yards at Hodge Malik Williams. He was 13 of 16, very efficient throwing the football, 3 touchdowns. They boat raced Fresno 59-14. Good win for UNLV.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this UNLV and Boise State game. It's going to be fantastic, and there's a good chance, if you're looking at Group 5, that automatic bid, I think those 2 teams in UNLV and Boise and then James Madison are the 3 teams you'd really have to take a look at. And no disrespect to Army-Navy. We'll see how that plays out.
Marcelo this morning said sneaky good. He was playing sneaky good game. Sneaky good game Friday night, Syracuse at UNLV. He said that will be a highly entertaining game.
Oh, yeah, because Kyle McCord's been great.
Yeah.
UNLV only a 4-point home favorite.
Yeah, 8 o'clock FS1. Friday night football has been fantastic this year.
Yeah, Fran Brown bringing that Syracuse team into Vegas. And you've been given the stats for years, LT. Lane in big games. I don't think Kentucky would have fallen into the big game. But he's got some big ones left now to save what was supposed to be a very special year for Ole Miss. Lane lost one he shouldn't have lost this past weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to follow you up. Lane Kiffin is stock down because, going into the season, going to a 12-team playoff, Ole Miss fans have been stuck in mud for a long time, and they feel like they still have their guy in Lane Kiffin. And look, you can easily turn this around. You can go 10-2 and still find a way to a college football playoff. It does get a little more difficult when you have a home loss as a 16-point favorite to Kentucky. But the whole theme was this schedule is so manageable. The really one difficult game is Georgia, but if they go 11-1, they're going to be there. Lane always beats teams he's supposed to beat. Well, he didn't in this situation. And that is a bad, bad loss. And then stock up. LSU, I don't know where they are right now. They're 4-1.
They're playing better.
Defense played a lot better against the South Alabama team that had been scoring a lot of points. But what they really needed for Nussmeier was another weapon to complement Kyron Lacey, and Caden Durham has been that guy. 3 touchdowns, 271 total yards over the last couple of games, 8.4 yards a carry right now. He looks really good, and LSU seems like a team that's going to get better and better and better, and who knows by the end of the season. Let's not forget that USC loss out of conference.
My oldest daughter made her first Tiger Stadium visit Saturday. USA was obviously playing, so her and some of her sorority sisters rode over. She was like, that was incredible. People inviting me to tailgates, like the noise. She was just blown away.
Did they stay the weekend over?
Yeah, they stayed Saturday night in Baton Rouge and then came back Sunday morning. But she was blown away by Tiger Stadium.
Did you give them the picture? Did you send it to
I did
Forrester?
not. I'll send it to Forrester. We may bring it back later. Maybe even on best of the week.
Do it tomorrow.
My stock up is BYU. Kalani Sitake's got this team playing so well. They're one of the 3 teams at 2-0 right now in the Big 12. Their remaining schedule is far from backbreaking. BYU could be in the college football playoff.
Thought about watching Saturday morning when I was kicking myself. Why in the hell did I play an 11 o'clock game, and why did I play Dave Aranda, who, by the way, is not long for this world as Baylor's head coach. But I was thinking the same thing. BYU realistically has a shot at getting to the college football playoff. It would not shock me at all.
One reason is because also in that conference, Oklahoma State is not a good football team.
I'm surprised, too.
I am, too. I thought Kansas State would win the conference, but I thought Kansas State and Oklahoma State would battle it out.
I think Oklahoma State likes when there's no expectation. They're one of those teams under Gundy.
Auburn used to get that reputation.
Yeah.
I think Gundy's kind of that guy. You don't expect anything. He wins 10 games. You expect him to win 10-plus games, and they don't.
Now, again, they played back-to-back games against Utah and Kansas State. I get that. But for Kansas State to beat them by 22 points?
Yeah, well, Utah got beat 23-10 by Arizona.
Yep.
Bowman with 2 more interceptions. He played so bad he got benched the last game. And the Ollie Gordon thing, I don't know if they changed the offensive line a lot. I thought they had him back tackle to tackle. I think they returned 4 starters. But he had 15 carries, 76 yards. The Ollie Gordon magic just not there for Oklahoma State this year. That's our McCurry car and van rental spotlight today, Brownie.
McCurryRentals.com. That's where you start, right there, McCurryRentals.com.
And as always, the lock brought to you by our friends at Hemphill. LancesLock.com. Couple of Braves afternoon games, but a Monday Night Football doubleheader again.
Yeah, we've got both sides up tonight. Titans, Dolphins. Obviously, Seahawks, Lions, a ratty game, and then a really good, at least on paper game.
You're not excited about Snoop Huntley?
And I've got a free player prop as your free play today, coming off a 3-1-1 yesterday in the NFL, where we've been killing the NFL. Go to LancesLock.com. Always brought to you by our friends right there at Hemphill Services. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090 or HemphillServices.com.
Okay, Tyler, if you will, give me cut 11. We got to hear from Lane Kiffin, because if you're not paying attention to the schedule now, A lot of SEC teams are off again this weekend. In fact, that was almost my stock down. The number of a double bye year, remember, number 2 Texas off before Red River. So that means number 19 Oklahoma is off. 13 LSU off. 14 Notre Dame is off. 17 BYU is off. 18 Utah is off. 24 Illinois off this weekend. A lot of byes this week. Lane Kiffin ain't one of them. Ole Miss drops down to number 12. They're on the road at South Carolina. Here's Lane Kiffin after the loss this weekend.
Lane, you've had a lot of these games where you were on the winning side, when it went down to the stretch, but, coming off as a loser today, how do you regroup your team and kind of get them composed?
Yeah, you guys have been around, have heard me say, like, we would, all of a sudden our program isn't terrible. Just like when they miss a field goal or don't get a 2-point conversion at the end of a game, I didn't tell you we got all the answers. So we've been on a lot of these where we won them, and all kinds of things could happen there. What are the analytics of a go route on 4th and 7, or that we got a great kicker and he misses, or that our defense gives up a touchdown. So that could have went either ways, and I'm not going to sit up here and say if it goes the other way that all of a sudden we got it all figured out. I've been saying the same thing about third downs and penalties. So same thing. I'm not going to overreact in a loss, just like I don't overreact in a tight win or a tight loss.
The highest road win for Kentucky since 1977, beating a team ranked in the top 5 there. He talked about the books, the analytics, and there you see Mark Stoops.
Boy, somebody's gonna wrench a back trying to let him crowd surf.
Yeah, but he, the surfer there, went out of his comfort zone on that 4th down play and the go route that LT was just talking about.
The degree of difficulty on that throw
by Brock Vandegrift, by the way, who's been awful a lot of times.
Well, I thought Vandegrift was really good.
No,
on
he was
Saturday,
great
though.
Saturday. I'm just saying the rest of the year.
Yeah,
he's
but
not been good.
you're right, man. That was out of the comfort zone. That was a call you never see Kentucky make. 4th down, definitely. To go up top like they did there, and it obviously worked out. But watching that atmosphere and how deflated they were, even before the kick, I didn't think he was going to make the kick.
I didn't really either. It had gone so bad for Ole Miss the rest of the day. I did not think he was going to make it. I knew when Ole Miss got into conference play, that offense was going to get throttled back a little bit. That's just natural. Everybody, I knew the same thing about Tennessee. They're not going to have that same offense in conference play. Josh Heupel could have told you that, and I thought Lane could have told you that. I wondered, Dunaway, was this improved Ole Miss defense really improved? And you play a team like Kentucky, and they can't get them off the field. Kentucky's time of possession was almost 20 minutes more than Ole Miss. 20 minutes. An entire quarter of football, they had the ball longer than Ole Miss.
That's what Stoops does. But some of that was Vandegrift running the ball.
That's right.
And not sliding, not running out of bounds, running through a proposed tackle there to pick up a first down.
Yep.
He played his guts out in that win there. And listen, for Kentucky, I don't know what's next the rest of their season, but for Ole Miss, I know they've never been to Atlanta for the SEC championship game. But when you went to 12 teams, I think every Ole Miss fan expected them to be in a 12-team playoff.
Oh, I said we were SEC Media Days. It's 12-team playoff or disaster. Or disaster with this schedule.
And you didn't have a Kentucky loss there.
No.
Because you have Georgia coming.
Yeah, the tough game was you're not going to be tested until LSU. And I heard it leading up to this week. I don't know if they're going to be tested against LSU on the road in Baton Rouge.
That's right.
That game has completely changed now, overnight.
I mean, it's all of a sudden.
Yeah, there's the schedule for Ole Miss.
It's
still not tough.
It's not tough.
But I mean, I could see if you lose to Kentucky at home, you can lose every game on the schedule outside of Mississippi State.
And I don't know about a 10-2 Ole Miss, guys, with a loss to Kentucky. I think your margin for error is absolutely gone. I think another loss may end it for you.
Yeah, so we'll see what's next for Ole Miss there. In trash coming up in the next segment, but our Dr. B spectacular hair sound of the day. If you can give me cut 14, if you will, Tyler, Deion Sanders, who is not hiding the gray at all. But we've got to give Deion his flowers, man.
I agree, man.
This was Colorado's
his
best performance to date.
I agree. Everybody will talk about TCU last year, and that kind of came out of nowhere. There was no expectation, and everybody loved. That was when Colorado was on the map. But this game to go on the road as a double-digit dog this deep in his tenure, and to be able to not only win the game, but win the game going away, where you knew that was the better team.
Yeah, not even close. Hit it, Tyler.
Ian, did you sense any sort of extra motivation or chip on this team's shoulder because you came in here as a 16-point underdog?
We don't care about that. Y'all do. We underdogs every week. Ain't nobody want to see us win. You know that, except for our fan base. You know my brother Ryan, right? Yeah. Life in football, they ride with us, but ain't nobody nationally want to see us get down. So hold on. I want to say, let me finish blessing her. That's just the nature of the game. We're not mad about it. We're not upset about it. We know who we are. We know how we get down. It's not like we come out talking that talk, because we don't really do that. You say we do that, but we really don't do that. Our kids are very humble. I don't say what's going to happen. Never. I say what I would like to happen, but not what's going to definitively happen. But I'm so darn proud of where we are. We could be in a whole different place right now, but look at it. We're going into the break. What's the record? Because I'm one game at a time. Say it again. I just wanted to hear y'all say it collectively. And y'all fell for it. We're 4-1 right now going into the break, and I'm so excited. You have no idea. It's going to be a really good plane ride tonight.
So 4-1 to the break. And I will tell you this, too. He's got Colorado's uniform game dialed in.
He does.
Those striped pants on the road look fantastic. He's got an unbelievable player, and not only his son at quarterback, but Travis Hunter, both sides of the ball. But to me, the fact that they were able to play defense, again, you know what Gus does with the eye candy and stressing you running the football. They were a top 5 rushing team coming in, and Colorado shut down their running attack for UCF. That was a complete team win for Colorado. I don't know if they've had one of those yet.
Yeah, and it is hard for me to say after the domination on Saturday in Orlando to say that Colorado can't win a lot of these games coming up.
I think they can get to 6. I mean, if he takes that team to a bowl, that's a pretty good season, man. I mean, you got to give him his credit.
Yeah.
And I think, like, the way Oklahoma State's playing, Colorado looks like a better team.
Well, and this is one of those, a moment that happened last week against Baylor can really flip a season. Like, if that's an incomplete pass in the game, they lose to Baylor, I don't know. Do they beat Central Florida? I know they look much better, but you just don't know where they are.
So I misunderstood you earlier. You think they get to a bowl game?
Oh, yeah. I think they can find 6 wins on that schedule. I think the Big 12's just crazy enough, and Colorado's, I mean, they're playing pretty good. They are.
We'll do upset alert tomorrow. Big win for me in that game. I had Colorado and the points there. Tell us about our friends, and a big outright win is big. Tell us about our friends, Dr. B. Dion doesn't need him, man. The hair looks fantastic under that cool-looking Colorado CU.
Dr. B pioneered the use of NeoGraft hair restoration right here in Alabama, remains at the forefront of hair preservation in the Southeast. He takes pride in treating each patient personally, applying his expertise to produce those quality results for more than 20 years. Women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today, 205-319-0316. Tell him the next round sent you. For more information, t3hair.net.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at ryanbrownlive.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short-notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
You never know what we're up to here at The Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow The Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunsford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in. Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant-Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to Fall Saturdays.
Champy's world famous fried chicken bringing you this hour of the show, champy'schicken.com. Unbelievable tailgate food. Hand-cut chicken fingers, bottom of your screen there. They're huge, simply huge. The New York Butcher.
Are they the best?
Not New York Butcher. The Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. The brined overnight, cooked to order fried chicken, all the wonderful sides, and so much more. Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling. Good place to have an afternoon cocktail for happy hour, lunch or dinner as well. Doesn't have to be a tailgate. Destination right off of I-65, Highway 119. Go see Sterling and the crew at champy'schicken.com. Trash in a second, and then overtime coming up. We were just talking about all the big games that were on ABC 3340 this week. TV schedule again. You know, you want them all to be like Georgia and Alabama, right?
I know.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And we were talking about 4K is awesome, by the way.
Yeah. YouTube 4K, I am so glad I swapped over. Watching those games in 4K.
No, that's great.
I wish the commercial breaks weren't quiet. I wish they would just leave up crowd noise. You don't have to give me the announcers, but crowd noise in the commercial breaks.
Missouri, Texas A&M, Auburn, Georgia, and then prime time, Tennessee and Arkansas. The ABC triple header on the SEC this week. Helped out by the last week, you had name brand Big Ten teams all streamed on Peacock all day long, which wasn't fantastic. I think we should give some credit, more credit. We mentioned it to Joel Klatt of the game day ops and the atmosphere that were at Bryant-Denny Stadium. If you were there, we'd love to see you in the chat room, mybookie.ag, on just how you thought it was. Greg from Pell City was there. I had several other people texting me as well saying this is the best atmosphere I've ever seen here at this stadium.
Several people in the mybookie.ag chat room agreed that the Ryan Williams touchdown is the loudest moment they could ever remember in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I don't know what line that passed. There were some Alabama LSU games, obviously, that had big moments in them.
But that game of the century, Brown, it was 9-6. And you know, there was very limited playoff access. There was an anxiousness to that game that kept it from really getting. It was loud in moments, but it kept from it really getting there.
Yeah.
2019 was big with Donald Trump there as well, like he was the other night.
Was it the Devontae Smith, the last touchdown Alabama scored in that game to make it a one-possession game, and they really, they had to get an onside kick or whatever.
Yeah, even that was a tepid cheer because I think everybody knew this game's over. It made it look better.
But the other night, here's what you had. You had boom, boom, great atmosphere, and then boom, 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 boom. It's 28-0. And then you had what felt like 2 quarters of just a party going on in the stands. Every time out, lights are flashing, music's playing, you're singing along, you're drinking a cocktail, everybody's partying. Then in the fourth quarter, you're like, uh-oh, we got to get loud to help the defense out. We got to get, and then they scored, and you saw the Surrender Cobras and girls crying. And then you get that one play, and he makes one of the greatest plays in Alabama history, and the roof comes off that play. And then you get nervous again. Then you get the interception, and then the party's on, man. It was just designed to be one of the greatest nights in Bryant
and for
history.
people that, I guarantee you there were some Georgia fans that spent $1,500 on a ticket, and they're still disappointed, obviously, losing, but they were probably sitting there 28-0 like, my God, I have wasted time. I've wasted so much money. And that ticket was well worth the price of admission.
Several people in the mybookie.ag chat room, Matt and Everett205, say Rocky Block in their mind was the loudest moment they could remember.
The actual block itself,
it
yes.
did. It was a volcano of sound.
I'm talking about, that was the loudest moment.
Yeah.
I'm talking about for 4 quarters on a game day. In that game, Alabama's offense was sluggish, and it wasn't the continuous level of loudness you had the other night. I think start to finish, craziest atmosphere of Bryant-Denny history. And the place doesn't get the respect it deserves. I go back to the radio days when Wimp Sanderson used to tell me, Jim, it's not a good home field advantage. It's not a good home field advantage. I said, it's changing, Wimp. It's changing. Well, buddy, it's changed now. It was a chaotic, wild place the other night, and I hope they keep it up. Trash Time brought to you every day by our friends at Mortgage Right. Are you ready to hit the button, Tyler? Let's do it, man.
Do y'all usually start before 8 o'clock with a chainsaw?
What time is it, sir?
Well, it's after 8 now. You guys started firing it up at 7:55.
Here we go.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
It's still the best part of that is your laugh.
Oh, yeah. That guy just fired it up right at you.
Hey, it is buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information. Go to their website, mortgageright.com. You can call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. So, have you guys figured out your Halloween costume yet?
I have. I've had it for quite a while. For the show? Well, that's the only time I put one on. Yes.
Me too.
I've had it. Oh, you've already got yours?
Yeah.
I feel like you've waited last minute a lot.
I have. Not this time. I have. I actually have 2. One I bought for the first year that I could bring back. It's in the news again.
Do you know you did not wear it the first year? You bought it and didn't wear it?
I bought it and didn't wear it. And then one that I had planned back in August to wear that I probably will stick with.
Okay. Yeah. I am in. I've got mine already.
Well, nothing says sexy like Ozempic. It seems like a lot of people are thinking that this might be a sexy Halloween costume.
Well, I mean, in her case, it works. I'll go ahead and say it.
Boy, she's in like a 70s throwback kitchen. That's like what you see in the jungle room in Graceland.
Yeah, that may be where it's taken because it does look like she's she's curvaceous and she's in a very small kitchen. It looks like a lot of appliances.
So, according to the New York Post, Yandy, a Phoenix, Arizona-based intimate apparel retailer, which one may buy swimwear, activewear, lingerie, and of course costumes for, points out this is the Yandy's So Snatched costume. Comes at a base price of $39.95, and the dress sure looks like your average Ozempic shot, just with the word snatched where the brand name should be.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
So then if I was her date, could I come as her needle for the injection?
What if you're just like a portly guy, like you're a big guy? That would be kind of funny.
Yeah. She might have multiple dates Halloween.
Oh, I don't think she's going to have any trouble finding one. No.
Yeah.
She could be by the hour, though.
Yes, could be. Yes.
Well, she's a model. She gets paid by the hour.
That's right. Yeah. That's the way models get paid.
So this girl out there is charging her boyfriend $50 every time he stays over.
So every time,
there's a reason to this.
Go ahead. Tell the story.
Budget with Kim, a content creator with a flair, recently went online, revealed that not even her boyfriend was safe from her money-saving strategies. You see, TikToker devised a pretty ingenious plan. She charges her boyfriend $50 every time he spends the night at her place. But before you rush to share your judgment, hold off until you find the real reason behind her payment scheme.
It's no fun if we don't rush to judgment. So let me rush to judgment. Yeah. By her hands, not attractive enough to be charging.
Wow.
2, does this not technically make you a prostitute? Go ahead.
No, it makes him one.
Quick to judge. He's paying her.
No, she's
taking the money, so he's kind of the John.
Yeah, you're more of a landlord.
Okay, there's a different angle to this, but I completely still disagree with it.
Okay.
Turns out they're saying it's not a cash grab. She's got something up her sleeve. She's saving up every single one of those $50 charges to treat her boyfriend to the ultimate surprise, a luxury holiday. And naturally, she let it out on TikTok. Quote, I charge my boyfriend $50 every time he stays over. This is to cover any expenses like rent, groceries, bills that I have to pay. Of course, this is where her plan takes a more romantic turn. Instead of using the money to cover immediate expenses, the budget content creator has been secretly stashing all into a savings binder that holds 100 pockets. Once all the pockets are filled, it's going to be $10,000, and she wants to take her boyfriend on a surprise trip to Mexico.
Okay. Let me just say now, you're giving me a gift that I have
paid for. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Well, first of all,
surprise!
He's a dumbass if he doesn't know.
Yes,
that like. I guess he justifies it. I mean, is there any love in this relationship, or is he just like, hey, I can, $50 instead of staying at the bar another hour later? It's well worth it.
What if so it's better if he doesn't know it's going to a vacation and he believes his
that's what I'm saying.
Just charging
I think
him?
Either way, it's a bad idea.
It's bad. Yeah, I'm with it.
Tyler, is it bad that if she gives me this gift of my money back, I decide to take someone else on this vacation other than her? Is that bad?
No, I'd say that's a fair choice.
And ask for interest. Well, you've been holding my money for 6 months now. Or he gets to the trip time and he's like, oh, we're not dating. I thought you were a prostitute.
Yeah,
I've been paying all this
That's probably how this thing will end. Oklahoma man, desperate to make his court hearing, is accused of stealing a pickup truck from a gas station and driving himself to the courthouse.
By the way, can we just quickly go back? I'm sorry. See You and Buff has an interesting plot twist. What if the boyfriend and the guy paying are two different people? Like, she says it's her boyfriend paying to stay over, but it's not really her boyfriend. She's taking the boyfriend on a trip, but she's actually a prostitute.
Well, now she knows that. Or now boyfriend knows she's a prostitute.
That would be quite the plot twist.
And by the way, she should be charging more if that scenario is there.
Sorry, Lance. Did not mean to interrupt.
$50 a night, man. It's
with those thumbs, though. I can see why.
So this dude was first seen at the gas station
doing with her thumbs.
They didn't like her hands.
Yeah, maybe why they look like they've been broken before.
First seen at the gas station in Stillwater, asking people for a ride to the Pawnee County Courthouse, where he was due for a hearing regarding a stolen vehicle charge.
Oh.
Now, it seems like nobody wanted to give the man a ride to the courthouse, but then he saw his means of transportation, a white pickup truck, just sitting there with the engine running, according to troopers. Specifically, it was a supervisor vehicle for an ambulance company called LifeNet, troopers say. And you see the photos right there. Now, the Pawnee County Courthouse, roughly 30-minute drive northeast from Stillwater, takes about 30 minutes. He ditched the vehicle when he arrived, then was arrested by a trooper as soon as he entered the courthouse.
Dear Heavenly Father, I just need a sign. If you can just throw me a life net to help me get to this trial.
Here you go.
He went straight to court and admitted to, quote, borrowing the vehicle that took him to his court date. Highway Patrol said records of the man stole the truck on September 24th, was arrested on a charge of larceny of a motor vehicle. His bond is set at $10,000.
I mean, they're borrowed versus stolen. There does seem to be a line you cross there. And I think he crossed it.
And there's a pattern here for him. He's stealing something to drive to his hearing about stealing.
That's right. Yes,
something.
It doesn't exactly have a crystal record, does he?
Yeah.
So, Brown, I know you've shit in a Pringles can. Have you ever pissed in a water bottle?
Oh, yeah.
No, actually, I have not. I've been on the road before, and the thought has crossed my mind.
I had a disaster with one time.
I may not be able to get to the next stop, and I'm going to have to go in a cup or something, but I've never actually had to do it.
It was a wide mouth, big gulp Gatorade. They used to make
Was that your
Powerade? I mean, the big one.
Humble brag there?
Well, that's what he was doing,
It's not going to go into the old Dasani bottle.
So
no, I've never done this, no.
For over a month, water bottles filled with urine remained untouched in a Purdue common room. Now, on the 12th floor of Hawkins Hall, common room became the host of several water bottles filled with urine. No one knew who made the bottles or why they were left in the common room to begin with.
First of all, they're not peeing like champions, LT.
That's some yellow pee right there.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that is dehydration at its best.
Yep.
Now, Ty Wilson said he saw the bottles sitting on a small table in the common room. They slowly built up over the course of the semester. Quote, bottles started on week 1, kept multiplying till its peak around week 5. Wilson said by week 5 of the semester, there were 7 bottles in the room. Wilson said that it was when he posted a picture to the Purdue 2028 Snapchat story. He said the post was originally just a joke, but later realized the sickening nature of it. He said when the first bottle arrived, he thought it was a beverage someone had only drank half of. By the time the 7th bottle showed up, Wilson had his doubts about what the bottles really were. The buildup of the bottles for multiple weeks raised health concerns with students living in Hawkins, and if there were regular cleanings. Hawkins Hall has 2 common rooms per floor. Wilson said he rarely, if ever, saw students in the smaller room where the pee bottles were. Eventually, the RA of the floor sent out a GroupMe message addressing the concern. Her announcements raised a concern over the bottles, condemning whoever created them. The RA said she was notified about the bottles by service staff who had to clean up the mess. RA also said in the message that whoever was doing this needed to stop and come forward. And if the individual did not stop and come forward, the entire hall would be charged. You ain't charging me if I ain't pissing in a bottle.
That's right. By the way, what's the smell like? If the cap's tight, there's no smell?
I don't think there would be a smell.
Yeah, it's a hot bottle.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
By the way, when I was wrapping up at Sachs High School, there was a person that owned a house who ended up working with him. Actually, ended up being a coworker of ours later on in life. But this was back in Calhoun County, and the underages could go there and drink, and there was always a party there. And there was one particular person that walked in a room, and there was a substance on the table that was not beer, but it looked like beer. You can mistake that for beer, right?
Yeah.
So he goes, "Who's wasting good beer?" and leans down on the table and slurps it.
No, he didn't.
100%. Yep.
Yep. That sounds like a scene out of Varsity Blues.
Yep. It was not great.
Capricorn 1.
Yeah. That's our trash today, brought to you by Mortgage Right. We just did that, or no?
If you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, mortgage experts, 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
And our friends at Johnston RV Center. Man, the weather's so perfect out there. Hitting just 80 degrees today. Fall temperatures heading our way to hang around for a while. Maybe another burst of warm weather, but great weather to be outside.
Yeah, it's still going to be in the 80s, but we'll get that fall weather eventually. You can see American and RV from Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator. Travel trailers right now starting at $145 a month. That is a great price for a travel trailer. How about savings on fifth wheels? Over $45,000. Lowest prices right now at Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 indicator. RV warranty forever. Make sure you got a lifetime warranty on anything new or previously owned that qualifies. JohnstonRVCenter.com.
Maybe one of the reasons why Alabama has 40 first-place votes and is the new #1 team, and Texas is too with only 19 first-place votes, is because Quinn Ewers has been out 2 games. Arch Manning has been there. It was a sluggish win over Mississippi State, who is considered to be the worst team in the SEC right now, but it is the start to the home SEC schedule for Texas. The fans were excited, and for Sark, he reminds you Quinn Ewers is about to come back.
We need Quinn back because he's our quarterback and he's our leader, and I think that impacts the entire team in belief. But what I think we learned and what Arch kind of earned here over the last 2.5 games is this team can count on him too. And there's not a lot of teams in the country that can think, whichever guy's in there, we can go win and we can play good football and we can count on that guy to do his job. We don't ask our quarterbacks to do more than what they're capable of doing. And those guys are both capable of a lot. They're both very talented players. They're really good leaders. They inspire people around them to play even better. But yeah, when we get Quinn back, that we're all going to be excited for that. But we also know, gosh, what a luxury that we do have, and what invaluable experience Arch got here over the last 2.5 games. Now, hopefully Quinn can get back for OU. We'll see. Another 2 weeks. Hopefully we can get him, as close to, if not 100% healthy, and let him get ready to go.
They cannot win a national championship with Arch Manning.
He played his best game Saturday night against State, but I agree
I
with
thought
you.
the second half he was pretty good. I thought he was sluggish in the first half. The week before, who was it Akron? Whoever they played. Louisiana Monroe. I don't even remember.
It was Lamo. It was Brian Vincent. Yeah.
Now, the good news is DeAndre Moore, a guy that had 4 grabs in the first 3 games, had 4 grabs, over 100 yards. It seems like you got a different receiver stepping up, whether it's Golden or Bond or now in this situation Moore. Jaden Blue turned it over multiple times, 2 fumbles, but they still had over 500 yards. They had 6 sacks defensively. So I think Texas is really good, but Quinn Ewers is definitely their number 1 guy.
Before you went into all those stats, I was going to ask you, and it sounds like yes is the answer. Have they checked all the boxes to this point for you of what you wanted to see with Texas?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I need to see now is I think you've got a lot of different playmakers. Now, Jaden Blue putting the ball on the ground multiple times is a little disturbing. You can't have those turnovers. But once they get whole with Quinn Ewers, yeah, I mean, this defense, I know they lost a little bit up front, but still, man, they attack. And to have the 6 sacks on Saturday night, pretty impressive.
They've got the bye coming up. Oklahoma has owned them of late, though. But those 2 teams seem worlds apart right now.
They
Texas
do.
and Oklahoma.
How can Oklahoma score enough points?
I don't know.
But Texas will struggle against that Oklahoma defense. That Oklahoma defense plays pretty well. I say that, Peyton Thorne threw for 338 on them.
That's right.
And if Auburn doesn't call a dumb play down on the goal line, Auburn scores, 28 in that game.
Yeah, well, if Texas plays like they played in the first half, I mean, there's a lot of teams that could beat them.
Yeah.
Okay, back to Alabama's big win, and then the Kalen DeBoer news conference coming up here at just after 12 o'clock today. It's brought to you by Grace Tree Services. For all the dead wood out there, Grace will help clean it up for you when storms blow through, wind blows through, or if you just have some trees that are dead or you want to come down, Grace Tree Services can do it all for you.
Yeah, fantastic service out there. You've probably seen these guys rolling around town. They maintain a fleet of specialized cranes and lifts to get the job done right, prevent damage to your home. Family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, soil health, treatment to strengthen your trees and plants. Had the guys extract trees from my house a couple of months ago. They do a fantastic job. Call 205-281-6100. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. You can scan that QR code that Scotty's got up on the screen or visit graystree.com.
Listen, you sit there and you inherit and you come in and re-recruit him and land a 5-star wide receiver. And, you see services have guys rated 5 stars. You never really know what you got until you get on campus with him. And Kalen DeBoer pretty early on knew what he had in Ryan Williams.
I think the thing I'm probably more impressed with that I knew he was going to bring, but it's what he's doing after the catch too. It's not surprising, but it's certainly impressive. And when you practice every day against each other and you have a couple of scrimmages, you get a couple chances, but he's doing it over and over again, getting the ball in his hands and making people miss, and a lot of yards after catching, yards after contact. So he's a special player. The most impressive thing also with that is how he just handles success, and he's going to be back to work. He's going to be the same guy on Tuesday, same guy tomorrow when we show up and do our workouts. And so, that's what I think our team really sees in him. The upperclassmen, I know have noticed that from day one.
You just can't simulate what you can do after the ball in practice, right? You never want to put your stars in harm's way, so you never really know until they get into a game.
Yeah, I mean, his hips, and it would think, what is he, 170 pounds?
I think that's what they say.
You would think just get a hand on him and you can actually pull him to the ground, but there is just something that is so elusive about this guy, and just his ball skills are insane and off the charts. And going back to what Klatt said, that he could be playing next Sunday at 17 in the NFL is crazy, isn't it?
It is, but and I know the rest of the country looks at this and thinks, there's so much emphasis on finding a guy at another program that can make an impact and then bringing him in to make an impact at your program, and leave it to Alabama to go find a kid that's supposed to be playing high school football that's one of the best 2 or 3 receivers in the country right now. That's just insane.
Hey, there's not a weakness.
There really isn't. His instincts are what blow me away so much. At that age, to have never played college football until a few weeks ago, the instincts of knowing where you are on the sideline, that you've got to catch that ball and turn, and then the instincts of knowing you've got 2 defenders coming at you, and you wait to the last possible moment to hit that spin move so they collide. That's incredible instincts.
It was artistic, man, and I cannot tell you the number of tweets, comments, conversations of people going back to rewatch that play One day in the summer, not too far away, we'll rank 10 greatest plays in Alabama history, and that'll be one that'll be up for debate on whether it's number one or not. It was that good of a play on a big stage, and Alabama gets the win. They're number one in the AP poll, and they get a road trip to Vandy. We'll hear from Kalen DeBoer in overtime coming up on the other side. That's our show today. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America. We go overtime now as we get going into the news conference days, and we'll get things queued up and hear from Kalen DeBoer and Hugh Freeze coming up today as we get ready for a road trip for Auburn to Georgia, and then Alabama with a road trip at Vandy. We'll have all your coverage this week, both on covercrimson.com, covercrimson.com, and thebarnauburn.com, thebarnauburn.com. You can go to both of those team sites that we own right here. They're part of the Next Round family, and you can sign up for $1 initial sign-up fee there, and then if you like the coverage, you keep rolling along. Covercrimson.com, thebarnauburn.com, and enjoy a lot of shows daily, 2-3 shows a day for free on those platforms, their YouTube channels, and on social media you'll see that. But then the premium content, including snap counts and recruiting news, all that at covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Go and check it out. I know we're about to start these news conferences on a day that the Braves are about to do a doubleheader for a playoff in a surreal setting of a doubleheader day in Atlanta on Monday. One win gets the Braves in as a 5 seed with the playoffs starting in San Diego tomorrow. So I hope you Braves fans hang with us and then enjoy hopefully a Braves win today. The overtime today brought to you by our friends at roback.com. Promo code TNR20. Roback.com, promo code TNR20. Brown's got some on today. I wore it on the golf course yesterday.
Yeah, I love Roback. And they've got that team gear, too. Don't forget their team gear for not just Alabama and Auburn. I've seen they've got Ohio State. They've got some Georgia stuff, LSU stuff, a lot of good team gear. Roback.com, code TNR20. We do have kick times and networks for next Saturday, October 12th. Alabama, South Carolina in Tuscaloosa is going to be an 11 a.m. Central kick on ABC, main ABC, for South Carolina coming to Alabama. The Red River, a 2:30 ABC game. You already knew that one. You State and Georgia fans, the game in Athens is going to be the 3:15 SEC Network game. You Tennessee and Florida fans, that game in Knoxville is going to be 6 o'clock ESPN. Ole Miss at LSU, 6:30 ABC. Vandy at Kentucky, 6:45 SEC Network.
Boy, if you're Herb Street and Fowler and those guys, you are cheering for Ole Miss not to stumble at South Carolina.
It looks like they were planning Ole Miss LSU for both game day and the primetime game, right? Because it's 6:30 ABC. So I would imagine that's still going to be your game day location, unless, as you said, Ole Miss stumbles at South Carolina. Then I don't know what you do.
Yep.
Florida.
So you think there may be a chance that Fowler and Herb Street are doing Oklahoma, Texas at 2:30.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's my fault. That's
Yeah,
that's your
that'll be
obvious
the game day.
I'm sorry. That's your obvious game day. I just always pencil them in that prime time, but they sometimes, like South Carolina LSU, they actually did the 11 a.m. game.
That's
so
right.
That's completely on me. You're absolutely right. That's going to be game day, and that is going to be their Herb Street and Fowler location.
Yeah, so 2:30 for that one. Always a fun day there, and now it gets to be an SEC game. We've spent a lot of time, not only on Monday Morning Live, but the Middle 8, talking about Alabama's win over Georgia, and just what an atmosphere it was and what a win it was. To put it in perspective now, Kalen DeBoer, 109-12 his whole coaching career, 6-0 now against Dan Lanning, Steve Sarkisian, and Kirby Smart. 6-0. He's yet to lose one against those three guys.
He's good against guys that coach for Nick Saban, right? Which can bode well in the Southeastern Conference. You face a lot of those guys.
It really can.
Yeah. He's really good against top-ranked teams. I mean, his record against the top 5 and top 10, his overall record's terrific, so it tells you his top 5, top 10 record. This guy's a really good big game coach. About the only big game he's ever lost was the national championship game last year to Michigan. So the guy's a tremendous big game coach, and was that again Saturday night. People will focus a lot on the letdown that allowed that to get back to being a football game. But the way that they were able to flip that switch back on and bounce back, I thought Tyler Booker made an interesting point. He's like, our offense played well for 2.5 quarters, and we scored 41 points on Georgia. Not a direct quote from Booker, but that's essentially what he was saying. Think about that for a second. If they can ever put together a complete game, God help the team they put together that complete game on, you know?
Yeah.
That offense, they haven't done it yet. They didn't do it against Wisconsin. It was pretty good. They didn't do it against Saturday against Georgia. If they ever put together a complete game offensively, that's going to be an incredibly difficult team to beat.
Yeah. Tell us where we can see that Tyler Booker interview or any of the content we get on the show, because a lot of Bama fans who are tuning in now, covercrimson.com, you can get a lot of stuff right there.
Yeah, on our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel has always got anything we do on demand. So our YouTube channel, Next Round Live, make sure you subscribe to it and set your alerts so that you always know when we're live. If you subscribe to it and set your alerts, you get an alert when we go live at any time. Sometimes like you and I right after Alabama and Oklahoma jumped on, Auburn and Oklahoma jumped on and did a little bit. So you can always see that there. Everything we do is logged there, including Tyler Booker. And again, covercrimson.com is a great place to go. You can sign up for $1 at covercrimson.com. There's a message board there. We've got daily shows there, specialty shows there, all there at covercrimson.com. Bama and Bourbon lives there at covercrimson.com. One of the most popular things we do, Lance and Aaron Suttles. So you can see all of that there, and you can join for $1, covercrimson.com. But you can see Tyler Booker, who was fantastic with us earlier today, still talking about that Alabama-Georgia win. Alabama win over Georgia. You can see that at Next Round Live on YouTube.
19 unanswered points for Georgia at one point in the second half. But I ask you this question. Did you walk away really impressed with Kane Womack's defense and the scheme?
I did. I said this in the show. I don't think, Jim, that the defensive issues in the first half, or excuse me, in the second half, were all on the defense. I think some of that was on the offense not being able to stay on the field and keep the defense on the sidelines. So I think it's got to work in tandem. As you well know, that offense sputtered out in the second half and just wasn't the same. And at some point, you know, they've got to stay on the field some and give the defense some rest. The way that defense played in the first half, they were blitzing a lot. They were showing a lot of exotic coverages. They were running all over the field. They were naturally going to get run down.
All right, Kalen DeBoer making his way to the podium there in Tuscaloosa. Let's listen in as the coach is coming off the big win over Georgia, getting ready for a trip to Vanderbilt.
Covering a few things here for you, but just continue to be proud of the team. I thought the preparation that we put into, you know, the weeks, you know, we had a bye week there. I thought the guys did an excellent job. And I think the preparation goes back before that too. There's just the continual improvement that we have. And it's something I think that's just inside of these guys. They want to be great. You know, just proud of the way they bring it every single day and the energy. You know, it shows every day I step on the football field. So proud of that. And, you know, they're doing a lot of things well. I think we're continuing to do more things well on both offense, defense, and also with special teams. Always going to be things that we need to continue to clean up. We know we're only as good as our last game, and everything that's on film or anything that didn't go, you know, like you'd hoped is going to be what the next opponent's going to look at and try to attack you with. So, again, I think looking forward to tomorrow morning and a great practice. Should be full of energy. It needs to be the best Tuesday we've ever had, just because that's the way we have to approach each and every opportunity.
Thank you, Coach. Let's start with Charlie Potter on the far right.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Just with Ryan, how do you teach a guy that young just to manage some of the things that are coming his way from an attention standpoint? Excuse me.
You know, he's obviously got a lot coming his way. Can you give me a water? And a lot of things that we expect him to continue to do, right? Make a lot of plays, and he's going to continue to bring on that attention and just educating him and understanding, both on the field while he's doing his thing and away from it. Just that the impact he has is seen, the influence he has is great, and just how to manage all of that. So it's just a process, and it's not just with him; it's with every one of our guys. We try to do a really good job of that, there's a lot going on, and every little thing is picked up on, especially these days. And Ryan's first class guy all the way, through and through, and love coaching him. He brings a great work ethic, smile, all the things you want each and every day to practice.
Jumped over to Chase on the far left.
Question you didn't get asked about on Saturday night. When you had the miscue on the kickoff return in the fourth quarter, you got a drive started at your own 3-yard line. Bernard makes a tough catch to move the change. You end up punting on that drive, but you drove it away from the goal line enough that I think Georgia took over on their own 33. How critical was it, even on a drive where you punt, to get it off the goal line?
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And the first point is that we got to do a better job of making sure, that situation doesn't happen. We talked a lot about that yesterday in our special teams meeting, and we'll learn from that. And, getting those first downs and getting yourself some space, and especially when you do have James where he can flip the field, you want to, obviously move the ball further and get more first downs. But that was a big catch, converting there with it was Germ on the catch there. So it's critical because no one likes to be punting in their end zone. That space gets pretty tight, and they did a nice job, converting. But boys felt like getting a couple first downs is the minimum. We didn't get 2 of them, but getting our backs off of the goal line was certainly important there.
Go over to Nick on the right.
Yeah, we had a chance, I think it was right before halftime, that get to see you pretty fiery in a moment. And for a guy who's known for being so even keel, what's kind of your approach for when to kind of show that side of yourself?
Yeah, I don't think you predetermine, when or what you're going to do and all that. But I just, the guys are fighting, and when you see something a certain way, and I know that I just felt like that was a big time in the game. We were doing a lot of things well, and some opportunities that just, we didn't take advantage of as a team. And that moment right there, we talk about the middle 8 and going into the locker room with a lot of momentum. And I know we got a safety there right in that area too, but there were some missed opportunities that we'd have loved to have had. And I was just, fighting for my team. And I know they were out there fighting and doing everything they could. And so just loved the way we were playing up until that point. I wanted to keep it going, and I saw it a certain way and wanted to make it known. So,
back left, Steven.
The tight ends were used a lot throughout the game, especially C.J. Dupree. Like, how does he make this offense go?
The tight end has always been an extremely critical part of our offense. The ability to be able to line up wide, come in tight, hand down, off the ball. The more things all guys can do, especially skill players in our offense, the more versatile we'll become. Receivers who can run the ball. We saw that with some guys Saturday night, running backs that can catch the ball. We saw that for a touchdown and some other opportunities as well. Just that versatility to where a defense coordinator, putting a game plan has to give them all these different elements of how we're going to attack. With CJ in particular, he's continued to, find his way into this offense, and guys finding him, whether it's Jalen or us just understanding, the best ways to utilize him the way he's most comfortable. He did a nice job, and he has done a nice job taking advantage of these opportunities, and there was just more of them. And that was part of the plan, things that fit a lot of different ways where we felt we could attack, and he did a nice job, all game long, as well as did the other tight ends.
Question from the front here, row. This over Jack.
Hey, Coach. You mentioned the safety. That coming right off of an interception. How big was that, just from a momentum standpoint, to see your defensive unit make a stand like that and put some points on the board right after a turnover on offense?
Yeah, it's huge, and really defenses love to be in that spot. Didn't like that how we got into that spot because we had to kick it down to them there, or that was actually off the interception. That's even worse, right? But taking advantage and when a team has their backs to the wall, just like we just spoke of with our back to the wall, that's a tough spot to be in. And I thought Coach Womack and the defense dialed some good things up and put them in a really uncomfortable spot where they had to, really react quickly. And, we got the intentional grounding. So those 2 points, all points, as we saw at the end of the game, were really critical. And, I think when it comes to points in general, and this is a little off the topic, that's one thing I loved about our team. The 2-point conversions at the end, whether it's us scoring or us stopping them, understanding the significance of every point. And that goes for extra points in the middle of the game or first quarter. I think our guys play hard each and every time, each and every play, but especially when those points are at stake.
You mentioned the running backs getting involved in the passing game. I think that the touchdown pass to Jam might have been Jalen's most, perfectly placed pass of the night. Just how have you seen him improve in those intermediate throws, 10 to 19 yards past line of scrimmage?
Yeah, the thing that stuck out to me in the moment even is that he didn't even think twice, and that is just something I think is coming along more and more. I think when it comes to Jalen's game, there's the fundamental piece, right, that you're always working on. And there's also then the element of understanding the offense and what we're trying to accomplish with concepts. And then there's a trust that has to be there with the other guys that are there in front of you to block, the guys that are running the routes, just all of it coming together. And I think you just see in each and every week those steps in all those areas happening and the progress he's making. And that doesn't just happen. You have to intentionally work at all of it. And it's communication. Hey, I might throw that in there if you have a step on him. It's just reaffirming with each and every one of them in practice, and that's a lot of work. And he brings that energy. He brings that intentionality each and every day.
Hey, Coach, I'm sure you'd probably love to have the success in the second half as you did the first half, but how important was it for your team to be battle-tested, and what'd you learn about them?
Yeah, it's important for us to now have this each game provides experiences, right? Every game, every opportunity, and we all have our experiences outside of being here at Alabama, all the areas, places we came from, and we talked about this as a team. For us to start fast like we have really the last 2 games. We did against Western Kentucky, the South Florida game. I think we learned a lot, but I really like that because that shows the preparation, the confidence that is a result of it. We hit the ground running. Yes, we would like to have a better second half. There's literally one play here, one play there, a small little piece that would have in the early part of the third quarter, mid part of the third quarter, completely changed that game. And unfortunately, it did happen, and we have to continue to learn from that. Continue to just understand that those moments become big, and so that experience that we went through, whether it was the missed opportunities or how resilient we were at the end, and learning that, in the end, it was a team win because the offense scored and the defense stopped them, and it took both sides of the ball doing everything they could to help us win that football game. And so there's a good positive vibe because it wasn't just one side or the other that carried the weight or found a way to win. It was a team win, and we'll learn from that and continue to trust and believe in each other and continue to grow as a team because of it.
Go ahead, Colin.
Hey, Kalen. I'm curious, as a former offensive coordinator, how difficult is Kane Womack's swarm defense, the disguise that it brings? How hard is that for an offense to plan against?
Yeah, and there's a reason why, I wanted Kane to be here. I saw it back in 2019 when I was at Indiana with him and really liked a lot about what he was doing, whether it was schematically or how he brought a unit together, the support he gives me and the type of person he is. I could go on and on. But when it comes to what your question was about, what he can do, I think it's a little bit different than what you see from, and every defense has got their style. So, a lot of people are probably going to say that, but there's a mix of attacking style with the opportunity or the way of just making people earn it. And he can just kind of pull on that and make it kind of look the same. from play to play. And he's got a great mindset, great schematic system that he can really draw upon to be able to pull the trigger on whatever he wants, and then being able to communicate it through his staff and make it simple for our guys to allow them to play fast is, I think, what you're also seeing, especially early in the season here as a new team. There's still just stuff that's happening that we haven't been through, experiences and situations, and each and every game. That's one thing you just worry about going into a game like this is it's an early game of the season against a very quality opponent, and all those situations that you try to get your team to understand and prepared for during spring, summer, fall, they're never the same as when it happens out there in the moment. And Kane's just done a great job preparing the defense and allowing them to play fast and do the things they're doing. 4 takeaways against a team that hadn't had any turnovers. That's a big deal.
Back right, Ryan.
Coach, a lot of talk after the game about the atmosphere on Saturday, how electric it was, and I was, nationally, and I was even talking to fans yesterday at a restaurant that said they haven't seen Bryant Denny like that. It was really loud. How big is that moving forward? What's your message to the fans?
You're helping me out. I appreciate that. I was going to talk about that because that was a huge deal, and we are. The guys are in a hotel and they're going through walkthroughs and all of that, whether it's Friday night, Saturday, and you don't really have a sense of what's going on out there. I got a chance to go out there on game day, the set, and get a good feel of it, and maybe just give them a heads up that, hey, it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a lot of energy, and when we start pulling into the stadium, you instantaneously could feel it. And I'm on that first bus with the guys, and their eyes were wide open and excited about what they were feeling and seeing. And then, of course, just throughout the game, I just can't tell you enough. I think there's just an energy. It's not like you pick out any single thing. Like, I still haven't, I hate to say this, I'm embarrassed to say this, Dixieland Delight. I still haven't really experienced it. I don't know when. I thought it was supposed to happen between the third quarter and the fourth quarter, but it must happen another time. So the lights go out, and I'm thinking it's going to happen, and it doesn't happen. So I'm still learning myself. But the energy, the excitement of it, there's just something special about playing in Bryant Denny. I can't tell the fan base how much the guys love it, and we appreciate it and can't wait to continue to do it again.
Last question, Jamie.
Coach, where would you rank Saturday's game and all the past games you've been a head coach in?
Yeah, there's a lot of great ones. I think I go back to, I think this has been brought up, I think maybe in Coach Womack talked about it, the experiences you've been through. Like, I've been through enough to where I just think so optimistically, like we can do this. We can do this, and trying to get that to your team is the tricky part because they haven't been through all those experiences. They don't have enough games under their belt to be able to have something that's happened at almost every spot in the field, offensively, defensively. We can get that an interception, just believing that's going to happen, or we can convert this 4th down. We can get this touchdown. And it's definitely up there because there was certainly the ebbs and flows to an extreme when it comes to the lead, the loss of a lead, and then even in the last 2.5 minutes, just how the game went back and forth. So it is a big one. I think the significance of it being our first conference game against a top-ranked opponent, taking all of those things in. It's as big as any. I mean, I have a lot of pride in winning some national championships and things like that, so that's internal. But this is where my feet are at right now, and so this is the most important one I've ever won, and it ranks at the top.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
You bet. Roll Tide.
That is Kalen DeBoer there, wrapping up that news conference as he was talking, very thankful of where his feet was and what was going on at Alabama. I thought it was interesting, and you did too, about the Dixieland Delight.
That's just funny that that's the one thing. He said, I thought it came between the third and the fourth quarter, which between the third and the fourth quarter Saturday night was probably high anxiety for him. So I don't know that he would have enjoyed it Saturday night. Maybe another game. They really should do it between the third and fourth quarter.
Every time? I feel like they save it for a big moment in the second half.
I don't know. I think they play the Green Day song, and they've played it for like 30 years, and it makes no sense that they play that song. That song has no connection to Alabama.
Yeah, that one's not going to get the jump around treatment during the timeout. I felt like I don't know. I don't know if it's conducive to game day, doing like they do, jump around, not game day, but the broadcasting
Right.
of letting it happen the way they do, jump around and stuff like that. But I thought that was pretty neat that he admits, I keep waiting for this. I hate to say it. I'm embarrassed.
That's
but
funny. I wonder if he knows the alternate lyrics.
I thought we were supposed to play it between the third and fourth quarter, and then the lights went out, and then they didn't play it. Lights went out a lot during the timeout. Great atmosphere. Great job by Game Day Ops for doing that. All right, down to the other end of the state. Now, after Georgia loses in Tuscaloosa, they get to host Auburn. Here is Hugh Freeze as we continue in overtime talking about Auburn now making the trip over to play the Dogs.
Yeah, good morning. Let me start by saying that, Saturday hurt our kids, our staff, and I'm sure it hurt our incredible fans who have been just to have 5 straight home games to open the season have been just marvelous. They've been, and our students and band, cheerleaders, just they've been incredible, and I'm sure they were hurt just like our kids felt gutted, and staff and everybody a part of it. So we're judged on results, and it's my responsibility to bring results to this program that restore its glory, and that builds, not only restores the glory of the Auburn football team on the field, but also I firmly believe that part of my job is to build up Auburn men, and that is one thing that I do believe and see occurring even through the hardships that we're going through, and it's something that we take very seriously, and when you talk to them, I feel like we're accomplishing good things there. Now, obviously, we want to add to not only building up men first, but returning the glory to Auburn football. We're working tirelessly to do both, truthfully. That's why I teach truth lessons on Monday and Thursday about life, the lessons we can learn from the game of football for that. Our fan base has done their part, which makes not being 5-0 very hard to swallow when we certainly had our chances to do that. My ask is to stick with us through the growing pains and support our guys and efforts and our recruiting efforts because the results are going to come. We're not that far off, and hope the 25 recruiting class sees that and knows they have a chance to come in and immediately impact this program just like the 24 class is currently doing. But building does take time. I think you all are aware of what we inherited. Our AD has done a marvelous job of explaining that, and he did to me before I took the job with the previous recruiting classes not being what you need to compete at a high level, and 57 transfers out in the previous 3 years before my arrival. So building takes time. But our process, when complete, is going to make everyone very, very proud and to wear the orange and blue. It's making ground. The process is. I see it. The record doesn't reflect it. Even when playing, 12 freshmen and I think combination of the 49 guys that played Saturday, there was 24, if you count our kicker, 24 freshmen and sophomores that played the majority of the snaps, and I use that for my recruiting pitch. We'll play you early, so let's finish this 25 class up and give us some more depth that we need to compete in this great conference. We must continue to get better in every facet, and that's my job, including coaching situational football better, putting our players in the best possible situations for their abilities to provide them success. Doesn't really matter if I think something's a great call, great decision, if it doesn't match up with the capabilities of our young men, and I can't put them in those situations. And I told our players post-game that I couldn't be more proud of them, their effort, their preparation. They deserved to win that game, and they played their guts out, and can't fault a single play on that film on effort. and told our staff that honestly it's one of the better game plan that a staff has put together in my time. The offensive guys under Coach Nix and Kent and Jake and Ben and Marcus and obviously all the supporting staff. I thought the plan was excellent. I thought the plan on defense was excellent, and I was proud of both the players and the staffs. It was a really, really good plan. There are many positives to build from that game. If you look at 90% of the plays, there's a lot of really, really good things that I hope can carry over as we get ready for a top-ranked team in Georgia. We certainly can't let the hurt and the sting of losing a game that you feel like you should have won tarry too long, because we've got some very tough task facing us coming up with 2 top 10 teams on the road. It'll be our first October's a road challenge for us. We haven't experienced that yet, and again, as we mentioned earlier, we're playing about 50% of our guys are young guys, and they haven't experienced what we're getting ready to experience. So that's going to be a challenge for us, but one that we're looking forward to and be excited to do. Some great positives from Saturday. I mean, DeMarcus Riddick led us in tackles. True freshmen Simmons and Coleman combined for almost 150 yards receiving. Offense had 26 first downs, I believe, and almost 500 yards of offense. And defense held them to 290 yards and 2 for 11 on third downs, which is a huge improvement from the previous weeks on our third down work. And man, it's just it's frustrating to sit here and tell you all that and to know what the results are. That's the complicated thing of taking ownership of that and still pointing out the positives. Whether it's that, I mean, offensively we're number 3 in the conference for fewest penalties. We're number 5 in the conference for passing. We're number 1 in the conference for explosive pass plays per completion. We're number 5 in total offense, or maybe that's 8, maybe 8 total offense, and 5 in yards per carry. I mean, there's a lot of positives that are not matching up with the results. There's some negatives too. We're 16th in the conference in time of possession. We're 16th in turnover margin, and you know that's the things that have really, really cost us. We lost the 3 games we've lost by an average of 7.7 points, 7.7 points, and in those games have had 11 turnovers. And so there's a lot of positives to build upon, and extremely proud of the effort that our kids and staff gave to prepare for a really good football team in Oklahoma, particularly defensively. They're one of the best, and now we and thankful again for our wonderful fans and their support. And now we got to get ready for a very difficult Georgia team who's loaded with talent and experience and maturity, and obviously well coached, and great respect for Kirby. The job he's done and the classes that he's stacked there make them one of the nation's elite.
Hugh, what is, from a coaching perspective, what is your biggest regret from the Oklahoma game? Is there a call or a situation?
Yeah, you know, I'm very transparent. I've watched it like 3 times, and I usually stop at 2. But all right, let's start at first half. Easily could have been 24-7 at half. We get down inside I guess to the 1 or 2. Had 2 shots from there and went with a package that we've been working for several weeks, and truthfully regret not giving it to Jarquez down there at least once. You know, you're going to miss some field goals. Been nice to have, you know, got that one right before half for sure. It was not certainly he's very capable of making those, and but that happens. So it kind of the first half, it's really the not scoring the touchdown that thought the offense did a good job getting them get us in field position to kick the field goal. I thought that was a really good drive. Did not, this is a weird situation, but, the play right before we had to go Mayday, and it was good to see us, we executed Mayday really well. You just didn't really want to have to do that. The ball should have went to the end zone, but that really wasn't Peyton's fault because the one scenario I'm getting way into, but I want to own everything that needs to be owned. There was a look that they would give from time to time that our whole plan was we've got to check to a max call to get us protected, but that was a third down thought, and with that came, as soon as he gave the signal for max, with that came all the routes. And so the call I had made to take the shot to the end zone, when he had to go max, it reverted to the third down routes in normal scenario, which wasn't terrible because we were prepared for Mayday, and you got to go out there and make those. But there's so many things that dang happen in a game, then you're like, oh my gosh, we had a great plan for that on third down, but we didn't talk about it being third down with one play to go. And so, you learn from that. But that's the first half. The second half, truthfully, loved the plan. Thought it was effective. The 2 3rd and 4s, one's in the third quarter where we missed another field goal. Wish we had a sack that pushed us back a little bit on that 3rd and 4. Wish I would have just played it like 2 down territory and maybe ran it and see if I could have got it to 4th and 1. And then obviously the 3rd and 4 interception for a touchdown. In hindsight, wish I would have just controlled it and ran it and punted it. That's what the film says, and that's some of that second hindsight. And Peyton's mature, but sometimes I probably just need to, you would like to. The conversation on the helmet stuff is good, and it really worked well for us for most of the game. You wish you would just throw that away or take the sack and we punt it. But again, in hindsight, just let me control it and let's run the ball and then punt it and see if we can't play defense.
Yeah, is this on? Yeah. You talked about DeMarcus and Malik and Jalen Crawford a little bit. Can you talk about their experience and their impact that they had on the game?
Yeah, well, they have no experience, and that's.
I'm talking about in the game.
Oh, it's nothing like playing in a game. You start to see, and again, without being negative toward any other players or anything, but you start to see that we're recruiting kids that can make a difference, that can run and that can tackle. We hadn't run a quarterback down that scrambled in a while, and here goes Riddick in the game, and he doesn't know half of what to do really with every call right now. But when you're an athlete, and the guy just he runs a very, very fast quarterback down on several occasions, and that's the type of recruiting we've got to have, and that we are doing. And going to add to us hopefully very soon. So, I thought Jalen Crawford played solid also, and Blockton's playing a ton of snaps, and of course all the receivers, and we're playing a lot of young kids for sure, and proud to see them kind of start having some successes. And T. Love got in the game and did some good things, and that's good to see. And but we're playing a lot of freshmen and sophomores, but good to see them get those experiences in the game.
Here, you've talked a lot about how you like to see your offense when they have 5, 6, 7 yards per rush, and Jarquez was averaging almost 6 on Saturday. And it seems a lot of the offensive play calls are the RPOs or options and letting Peyton make that decision. Is there a hesitancy to just call straight run plays, or kind of what's your mindset on that when you have Jarquez who was running it so well?
Yeah, that's a balancing act. There were a lot of runs where we did. It was handoff all the way. Others, we still believe in giving the option because, I mean, you can't – this league is – I mean, that team we played against don't give up many rushing yards. It just – you go look, and they are loaded with NFL guys. Those safeties and linebackers and ends are NFL dudes. And, I mean, there's one run play we have. It was automatic give, and that number 2, good God, he's – one of the best I've seen in a long, long time. I mean, he makes the tackle on Jarquez for a 1-yard gain, and he's lined up 14 yards deep. I mean, he's pretty dang good. So there's a balancing act. You can do that, but then everybody's going to yell and scream when you do that, and they have too many guys that you have nobody to block him. And so you've got to, I think it's a balancing act for sure, but we definitely want 27 to get his share of touches. But when you do throw the RPO, it's our job to make sure that it's thrown to the right RPO. And that's where we still are struggling a little bit. And so we got to keep working to get that corrected.
You mentioned the first half goal line situation. Had some mixed success in red zone and short yardage. Are you a little surprised or disappointed at that? You've done quite a few different things.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed that we didn't score that touchdown, obviously. And truthfully, the first time we did it, it should have scored. And we had, again, you know, I don't ever want to sound like I don't know, everybody seems to think when I tell you what really happened that I throw somebody under the bus. I'm not. I mean, but on the first one, we've lost B. Frazier to a broken foot, who's usually in that position, and we had to sub in for him somebody that's an old lineman that doesn't get all those looks a tight end gets, and they gave us a squirrely look, and he did not go to the right spot, and thus it ate up 2 of our pullers. And if we could have got those 2 pullers around, I think we walk in. But that's on us as coaches to when you lose somebody, it's next man up, and you got to get them ready. And we obviously didn't have one guy ready for that play, and so that's frustrating when you watch that. And the play, not the last one or not that one, the play before that. They had a really good call on, but if we totally understood, again, back to coaching, if we totally understood every single look, I think we walk in on that one too. But it's hard, man, to show because they're game planning too. And it's hard to show every single look, but when you look at the tape and you say the facts are, if we had covered this look, it is a really good call, and it's going to score. And when you look back at the practice tape, we never showed them that particular look. Obviously, we show them as many as we think we can, but so we've got to just continue to hopefully we get the right looks taught to our kids so that we can execute those short yardage plays.
Coach, outside of the interception in the fourth quarter, Peyton had a very good day statistically. He was 6 of 7 on passes of 20 yards or more down the field. Can you talk about the day he had, what he was seeing, and whether this performance cements in your mind your decision to give him the job to start the season?
I couldn't be. I told him after the game, man, I thought not just him, but I thought he laid it on the line for our kids, for our team, for our program. I mean, he was he sacrificed his body. He gave himself up many times to get us first downs. I thought he did a really nice job of. We have an oh crap rule, and that means if my progression is not there pretty quick, then man, let's put our foot in the ground and let's go that way and put us in 2nd and 8. We can live with that. And I thought he really played solid. Obviously, he wishes that he has one throwback, and as everybody does. But man, I thought he really laid it on the line for us and for our team, and it's kind of what we expect out of him at the start of the season, and moving forward is what we'll expect. Yeah, it's hard to say he's not the starter in these kind of games. I think he gives us our best chance to win, as long as he keeps taking care of the football like he did.
Your players seem pretty devastated after that loss. You've got a very tough October in front of you. Do you and your staff have to do anything more this week to keep them from spiraling and keep them invested in your program?
No, that's the media. You know, I don't know. Media is into this spiraling and keep them together. And, you know, is that really, I mean, if that is a question about your team, and then you're probably not going to have a whole lot of success. But that, man, in life, you don't get the chance to spiral and then have success. And it's the same way in football. And that'll be my lesson today that I've had planned, obviously, since back in the summer, is one that I think is perfect for our moment that I'm going to teach on and give some real life examples from myself and how at times in life you've got to draw the line on what am I really in this for, and what did I really sign up for, and you know, what happens when you sign up for a job and it doesn't go the way you want. Do you spiral and I don't know. I mean, what's that? I don't think there's. I don't know. I guess we're just made there. There's not another option, man. We get an opportunity this week to go and play one of the top teams in the country, and with a young team that is building, and we see it as another great opportunity. Yeah, it's a tough October. It's going to be, you know, some great challenges, and we could certainly lose some games, and we could certainly win those games. But every week is a new life of its own every day, and you expect your staff and you expect your team, man, to be ready to go and fight again. And yeah, it hurts and it stings, but you're not the only one that's gotten a bad report. There's a lot of people in life today that gotten a bad report last week and had difficult times. And man, maybe we can be an example of during difficult times, and when everybody wants to tear you down or beat you up or praise you or either one, you still go to work and you'd still do the same thing with the same enthusiasm, the same passion, the same energy, because you love what you do and you love who you do it with, and most importantly, you love who you do it for. And we've got a great place to represent in doing that. So, man, we're not going to blink as a staff, and I don't expect our kids to either.
Hugh, you mentioned this game plan defensively against Oklahoma you thought was well executed. You said last week you thought they played hard against Arkansas. How much do you lean on that group as being a constant as they've been kind of so far this season?
Yeah, they've other than third and longs, they've been really constant and containing the quarterback with rush lanes. So you take this game, the improvement is, you can't argue the improvement on containing rush lanes and the third down defense. I thought our kids and our staff did a marvelous job. I mean, it comes down to the few plays we described earlier when you asked me about that, and then defensively it comes down to truthfully, the explosive pass play that we gave up in the fourth quarter. That quarterback was going to have one or two, but I'm glad it came early, and then after that I thought our rush lanes contained him pretty well. The big explosive play there, later in the game was one that really hurt us. And but outside of that, man, I thought our defense played phenomenal.
Hugh, Dre's been super consistent for y'all since the start of the season at wide receiver, but Malcolm, last couple of weeks, about 5 or 6 touches a game, big plays from him. Are you really starting to see the light kind of come on for him at this point as a guy who wasn't here early as an early enrollee but's been able to carve out a role?
Yeah, I think you're, again, they're just young, and it takes time. There's a process to developing, and there's very few, and there's some that come in and are totally ready, and most of them probably got there early. But you're starting to see him start to understand a few more things. He's still got things to learn. Like we threw him two bubble screens, and for 18 years now, he's up in Alexander City. He's taken that and just outrun everybody to the sideline and been able to do it. And here it's not quite that way, but he's going to learn that, man, if he puts his foot in the ground on a couple of those are like 10-yard gains. And so there's still things he's learning. The great thing is he's so fun to coach, man. He wants to be coached, and he loves to play the game. And so you're starting to see Perry had a great week of practice. We got to get him in more games. And, I thought all of those, DeMarcus Riddick, I mean, we could go on and on because we're so young. And, of course, Cam's coming on too and starting to get healthy again. And it's good to see all those young kids have success.
Coach, you mentioned in your opening statement about what you and your staff have inherited here. In year 2, was the roster so barren and was the previous regime's job so poor in recruiting that fans shouldn't expect more than a 2-3 start when you have 5 home games to begin the year?
Yeah, I won't comment on what happened before I was here. The roster was what it was. Everybody can make their own determination on that, on how many people left and the recruiting rankings and what was brought in. So you can look at that and make your own determination. Should the fans expect more than a 2-3 start? Absolutely. I mean, we could easily, like I said in my opening statement, be sitting here being 5-0, but we didn't get it done. And we can point to the coaching errors, and we can point to the 11 turnovers and all of those things. It's a mixture, and it's our job to get it. We could point to our youth, but we've got like I said earlier, that we can sit here and talk about all those things, but we're a result-oriented profession, and those results didn't go our way, so there's no way that I can sit here and say that those 3 games weren't winnable. And so that's the toughest thing for me to say to them, because I know what the sacrifices are that all of our boosters and families and supporters and administration and everybody pours into supporting this program. And when you don't deliver on that's one thing to sit here, and if I said, man, we just got our tails whipped and they were just better than us and deeper than us, and but I'm not taking anything away from those teams. They found a way to win the games, but we found a way to lose them, in my mind, and that's what's the hardest thing about sitting here with the 2-3 record.
Coach, you mentioned a second ago in responding to Brian's question about spiraling and how that's not an option. But you have some young guys on this team who haven't lost a lot of football in their high school careers, or now they're having to deal with losing 3 out of 4 weeks. What has your message been to them about staying in the right mental space?
Welcome to life. If it hasn't hit you, if you never experienced that in high school, difficult gut punches and losses, just keep living. They'll come, and man, there's no other group I'd rather do this with and help teach you lessons through this time. And you see that we're not far off, and you're going to be a huge role in turning this program back around to being where it belongs. So, man, stay the course.
You're talking about young guys. Cam chasing down a guy and then had a couple of good blocks.
Glad you brought that up, man.
I mean, what does that show guys, the effort that it takes sometimes?
Well, the strain to win. We'll show some tape today, and obviously I think our team played extremely, extremely hard. But there's still a few plays there that, man, if we strain a little harder to sustain a block a little longer, that run becomes 30 yards. or man, if we don't loaf right here, that gang tackle, your assist on this guy that has him, instead of him falling forward 4 yards, man, that's a no gain. And so there's still, obviously, I'm really proud of how hard they play, but there's still those times where, all right, let's strain a little harder to win. And there's no better tape of showing what our young kids are like than Cam Coleman on that interception. I mean, being relentless and chasing him down, and almost got there to get him.
All right, that's the news conference, the Hugh Freeze news conference over there as Coach wraps up from earlier today. Coach talking about the extra fight to win games. They'll give it a fight this week at Georgia. We'll continue our coverage nonstop today. Coming up on the other side, we get to LT and Brock Heward with Unlocked. It starts in about 5 minutes, so go take a pee break and then come back and jump on the link on our YouTube channel here with Unlocked, Brock Heward, and Lance Taylor.